when that foremost of sacrifice, the Rajasuya, so difficult of accomplishment, was completed, Vyasa, surrounded by his disciples, presented himself before Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira, upon beholding him, quickly rose from his seat, surrounded by his brothers, and worshipped Drish, who was his grandfather, with water to wash his feet, and the offer of a seat. The illustrious one, having taken his seat on a costly carpet inlaid with gold, addressed King Yudhishthira the just, and said, "Take thy seat." And after the king had taken his seat, surrounded by his brothers, the illustrious Vyasa, truthful in speech, said, "Thou growest from good fortune. Thou hast obtained an imperial sway so difficult of acquisition, and all the Kauravas have prospered in consequence of thee. I have been duly worshipped. I desire now to go with thy leave." King Yudhishthira, the just, thus addressed by the Rish of dark hue, saluted his grandfather, and touching his feet, said, "A doubt difficult of being dispelled hath risen within me. Save thee there is none to remove it." The illustrious Rish Narada said that 3 kinds of portents, celestial, atmospherical, and terrestrial, once happen. Have those portents been ended by the fall of the king of the heads? Hearing these words of the king, the exalted son of Parasara, the island-born Vyasa of dark hue, spoke these words. For 13 years, those portents will be mild consequence, ending in destruction of all the Kshatriyas. In course of time, making thee the sole cause, the assembled Kshatriyas of the world will be destroyed. For the sins of Duryodhana, and through the might of Bhima and Arjuna. In thy dream, thou wilt behold towards the end of this night the blue-throated Bihava, the slave of Tripura, ever absorbed in meditation, having the bull of his mark, drinking of the human school, and fierce and terribly, that Lord of all creatures, that God of gods, the husband of Uma, otherwise called Hara, and Sarva, and Vrisha, armed with the trident, and the bow called Pinaka, and attired in tiger skin. And thou wilt behold Siva, tall and white as the Kailasa cliff, and seated on his bull, gazing unceasingly towards the direction presided over by the king of the Pitris. Even this will be the dream thou wilt dream today. Do not grieve for dreaming such a dream. None can rise superior to the influence of time. Blessed be thou. I will now proceed towards the Kailasa mountain. Rule thou the earth with vigilance and steadiness, patiently, bearing every privation. Having said this, the illustrious and island-born Vyasa of dark hue, accompanied by his disciples, ever following the dictates of the Vedas, proceeded towards Kailasa. And after the grandfather had thus gone away, the king, afflicted with anxiety and grief, began to think continuously upon what the Rish have said. And he said to himself, "Indeed, what the Rish have said must come to pass. We will succeed in warding off the fates by exertion alone." Then Yudhishthira, endowed with great energy, addressing all his brothers, said, "Ye tiger among men, ye have heard what the island-born Rish have told me. Having heard the words of the Rish, I have arrived at this firm resolution, that I shall die, as I am ordained to be the cause of the destruction of all Kshatriyas. Ye, my dear ones, if time hath intended so, what need is there for me to live?" Hearing these words of the king, Arjuna replied, "Yield not thyself to this terrible depression that is destructive of reason. mustering fortitude, do what would be beneficial. Yudhishthira, then firm in truth, thinking all the while of divine Payana words, answered his brothers thus: Blessed be ye, listen to my vow from this day. For 13 years, whatever purpose have I to live for, I shall not speak a hard word to my brothers, or to any of the kings of the earth, living under the command of my relatives. I shall practice virtue, exemplifying my vow. If I live in this way, making no distinction between my own children and others, there will be no disagreement. It is disagreement that is the cause of war in the world. Keeping war at a distance, and ever doing what is agreeable to others, evil reputation will not be mine in the world. Ye bulls among men. Hearing these words of their eldest brother, the Pandavas, always engaged in doing what was agreeable to him, approved of them. And Yudhishthira, the just, having pledged that so, along with his brothers, in the midst of that assembly, gratified his priest and the gods with due ceremonies. And after all the monarchs had gone away, Yudhishthira, along with his brothers, having performed the usual auspicious rites, accompanied by his ministers, entered his own palace, and King Duryodhana and Shakuni, the son of Suvala, continued to dwell in that delightful assembly house. That bull among men, Duryodhana, continued to dwell in that assembly house, and with Shakuni, the Kuru prince, slowly examined the whole of that mansion. And the Kuru prince beheld in it many celestial designs, which he had never seen before in the seat called after the elephant. And one day King Duryodhana, in going round that mansion, came upon a crystal surface, and the king, from ignorance, mistaking it for a pool of water, drew up his clothes, and afterward, finding out his mistake, the king wandered about the mansion in great sorrow. And some time after, the king, mistaking a lake of crystal water adorned with lotuses of crystal petals for land, fell into it with all his clothes on. Beholding Duryodhana fallen into the lake, the mighty Bhishma laughed aloud, the menials of the palace, and the servants at the command of the king soon brought him dry and handsome clothes. Beholding the plight of Duryodhana, the mighty Bhishma and Arjuna, and both the twins, all laughed aloud, being unused to putting up with insults. Duryodhana could not bear that laugh of theirs. Concealing his emotions, he even did not cast his looks on them, and beholding the monarch once more draw up his clothes to cross a piece of dry land which he had mistaken for water, they all laughed again, and the king some time after mistook a closet door made of crystal open, and he was about to pass through it, his head struck against it, and he stood with his brain reeling, and mistaking closed another door made of crystal that was real open. The king, in attempting to open it with stretched hands, trembled down. And coming upon another door that was real open, the king, thinking it is closed, went away from it. And King Duryodhana, beholding that vast wealth in the Rajasuya sacrifice, and having become the victim of those numerous errors within the assembly house, at last returned, with the leave of the Pandavas, to Hastinapura. And the heart of King Duryodhana, afflicted at sight of the prosperity of the Pandavas, became inclined to sin. He proceeded towards his city, reflecting on all he had seen and suffered, and beholding the Pandavas happy, and all the kings of the earth paying homage to them, Everybody, young and old, engaged in doing good unto them, and reflecting on the splendor and prosperity of the illustrious sons of Pandu. Duryodhana, the son of Dhritarashtra, became pale. In proceeding with afflicted heart, the prince talked of nothing else that assembly house and that unrivaled prosperity of the wise Yudhishthira. And Duryodhana, the son of Dhritarashtra, was so taken up with his talks then that he spoke not a word to Suvala's son, even though the latter addressed him repeatedly, and Sakuni, beholding him absent-minded, said, "Why art thou proceeding sighing thus?" Duryodhana replied, "Beholding this whole earth owing the sway of Yudhishthira, in consequence of the might of the illustrious Arjuna weapons, and beholding that sacrifice of the son of Pritha, like unto the sacrifice of Sakra, himself of great glory among the celestials, being filled with jewels, and burning day and night, I am being dried up like a shalom tank in the summer season. Beholding when Sisupala was slain by the chief of the Satyavrtas, there was no man to take the side of Sisupala. Consumed by the fire of the Pandava, they all forgave that offense. Otherwise, who is there that could forgive it? That high improper act of grave consequence done by Vasudeva succeeded in consequence of the power of the illustrious son of Pandu, and many monarchs brought with them various kinds of wealth for King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, like tribute-paying Vaisyas. Beholding Yudhishthira prosperity of such splendor, my heart burneth, afflicted with jealous, although it behoveth me not to be jealous. Having reflected in this way, Duryodhana, as if burnt by fire, addressed the king Gandhara again and said, "I shall throw myself upon a flaming fire, or swallow poison, or drown myself in water. I cannot live. What man is there in the world possessed of vigor, who can bear to see his foes in the enjoyment of prosperity and himself in destitution? Therefore, I who bear to see that accession of prosperity and fortune, I am neither a woman nor one that is not a woman, neither a man nor one that is not a man. Beholding their sovereignty over the world and vast affluence, that sacrifice who is there like me that would not smart under all that. Alone I am incapable of acquiring such royal prosperity, nor do I behold the lies that could help me in the matter. It is for this that I think of self-destruction." Beholding that great and serene prosperity of the son of Kunti, I regard fate supreme and exertions fruitless. Formerly I strove to compass his destruction. Baffling all my thoughts, he hath grown in prosperity, even like the lotus from within a pool of water. It is for this that I regard fate supreme and exertions fruitless. Behold, the sons of Dhritarashtra are decaying, and the sons of Pritha are growing day by day. Beholding that prosperity of the Pandavas, and that assembly house of theirs, and those menials looking at me, my heart burneth, if it were on fire. Therefore, know me now as deeply grieved and filled with jealous, and speak of it to Dhritarashtra." Sakuni said, "Thou shouldst not be jealous of Yudhishthira. The sons of Pandu are enjoying what they deserve in consequence of their own good fortune. Thou couldst not destroy them by repeatedly devising numberless plans, many of which thou hast even put to practice. Those tigers among men out of sheer look escaped all those machinations. They have obtained Draupadi for wife, and Drupada with his sons, Vasudeva of great prowess, allies, capable of helping them in subjugating the whole world, and having inherited the paternal share of the kingdom without being deprived of it, they have grown in consequence of their own energy. What is there to make thee sorry for this? Having gratified Hutasana, the Hananjaya have obtained the Bogandiva and the cup of inexhaustibly keepers, and many celestial weapons. With that unique bow, and by the strength of his own arms, he hath brought all the kings of the world under his sway. What is there to make thee sorry for this? Having saved the Asura Maya from a conflagration, Arjuna, that slayer of foes, using both his hands with equal skill, caused him to build that assembly house. And it is for this that commanded by Maya, those grim Rakshasas, called Kinkaras, supported that assembly house. What is there in this to make thee sorry? Thou hast said that thou art without allies. This is not true. These thy brothers are obedient to thee. Drona of great prowess, and yielding the large bow along with his son, Hadha son, Karna, the great warrior Gautama, myself with my brothers, and King Saumadati. These are thy allies. Uniting thyself with these, conquer thou the whole earth. Duryodhana said, with these great warriors, I shall subjugate the Pandavas, if it please thee. If I can now subjugate them, the world will be mine and all the monarchs, and that assembly house so full of wealth. Sakuni replied, Dhananjaya and Vasudeva, Bhishmasena and Yudhishthira, Nakula and Sahadeva and Drupada with his sons. This cannot be vanquished in battle by even the celestials, for they are all great warriors, wielding the large bows, accomplished in weapons, and delighting in battle. I know the means by which Yudhishthira himself may be vanquished. Listen to me and adopt it. Duryodhana said, without danger to our friends and other illustrious men, tell me if there is any way by which I may vanquish him. Sakuni said, the son of Kunti is very fond of dice play, although he doth not know how to play. That king, if asked to play, is ill able to refuse. I am skillful at dice. There is none equal to me in this respect on earth, not even in the three worlds. Therefore ask him to play at dice. Skilled at dice, I will win his kingdom, and that splendid prosperity of his for thee. Represent all this unto the king. Commanded by thy father, I will win without doubt the whole of Yudhishthira possessions. Duryodhana said, thou thyself represent properly all this to Dhritarashtra, the chief of the Kurus. I shall not be able to do. Impressed with the great Rajasuya sacrifice of King Yudhishthira, Sakuni, the son of Suvala, having learned before the intentions of Duryodhana, while accompanying him in the way from the assembly house, and desirous of saying what was agreeable to him, approached Dhritarashtra, and with great wisdom, and finding the monarch deprived of his eye, seated, told him these words. Know that Duryodhana, having lost color, hath become pale and emaciated and depressed and a prey to anxiety. Why dost thou not, after due inquiry, ascertain the grief that is in the heart of thy eldest son, the grief that is caused by the foe? Dhritarashtra said, Duryodhana, what is the reason of thy great affliction? If it is fit for me to hear it, then tell me the reason. The Sakuni here says that thou hast lost color, become pale and emaciated, and a prey to anxiety. I do not know what can be the reason of thy sorrow. This vast wealth of mine is at thy control. Thy brothers and all our relations never do anything that is disagreeable to thee. Thou wearest the best apparel and eatest the best food that is prepared with meat. The best of horse carries thee. What it is, therefore, that hath made thee pale and emaciated? Costly beds, beautiful damsels, mansions decked with excellent furniture and sport of the delightful kind, without doubt, these are weighed at thy command, in the case of the gods themselves. Therefore, why dost thou grieve, if thou wert destitute? Duryodhana said, I eat and dress myself like a wretch, and pass my time all the while a prey to fierce jealous. He indeed is a man who, incapable of bearing the pride of the foe, liveth having vanquished that foe with the desire of liberating his own subjects from the tyranny of the foe. Contentment, pride, are destructive of prosperity, and those other two qualities, compassion and fear. Who acteth under the influence of these never obtaineth anything high. Having beheld Yudhishthira prosperity, whatever I enjoy brings me no gratification. The prosperity of Kunti's son that is possessed of such splendor maketh me pale, knowing the affluence of the foe and my own destitution. Even though that affluence is not before me, I yet see it before me. Therefore I have a lost color and become melancholy, pale and emaciated. Yudhishthira supporteth 88,000 Sinataka Brahmanas, leading domestic lives, giving unto each of them 30 slaves girls. Beside these, 1,000 other Brahmanas daily eat at his palace the best of food on golden plates. The king of Kamboja sent unto him innumerable skins, black, darksy, and red, of the deer kadali, numberless blankets of excellent textures, and hundreds and thousands of she elephants and 30,000 she camels. Wander within the palace, for the kings of the earth brought them all tribute to the capital of the Pandavas. And the kings brought unto his foremost of sacrifice heaps upon heaps of dews and jams for the son of Kunti. Never before did I see or hear of such enormous wealth was brought unto the sacrifice of the intelligent sons of Pandu. And beholding that enormous collection of wealth belonging to the foe, I cannot enjoy peace of mind. Hundreds of Brahmanas, supported by the grants that Yudhishthira hath given them, and possessing wealth of kind, waited at the palace gate with 3,000 millions tribute, were prevented by the keepers from entering the mansion, bringing with them clarified butter in handsome kamandalus made of gold. They did not obtain admission into the palace. And Ocean himself brought unto him in vessels of white copper the nectar that is generated within his waters, and which is much superior to that which flowers and annual plants produce for Sakra. And Vasudeva, having brought an excellent conch bathed the son of Pritha with sea water, brought into 1,000 jars of gold, all well adorned with numerous gems. Beholding all these, I became feverish with jealousy. Those jars had been taken to the eastern and the southern oceans, and they had been taken on the shoulders of men to the western ocean. Although none but birds only can go to the northern region. Arjuna, having gone thither, exacted as tribute a vast quantity of wealth. There is another wonderful incident which I will relate to thee. When 100,000 Brahmanas were fed, it had been arranged that, to notify this act every day, conchs would be blown in a chorus. I continually heard conchs blow there almost repeatedly, and hearing those notes my hair stood on end. That palatial compound, filled with innumerable monarchs that came there as spectators, looked exceedingly handsome, like the cloudless firmament with stars. The monarch came into that sacrifice of the wise son of Pandu, bringing with them every kind of wealth, and the kings that came there became like Vaishyas, the distributor of food unto the Brahmanas that were fed. The prosperity that I beheld of Yudhishthira was such that neither the chief himself of the celestials, nor Yama or Varuna, nor the lord of the Guhyakas owneth the same. And beholding that great prosperity of the son of Pandu, my heart burneth, and I cannot enjoy peace. Hearing these words of Duryodhana, Sakuni replied, Hear how thou mayest obtain this unrivalled prosperity that thou beholdest in the son of Pandu. I am an adept at dice, superior to all in the world. I can ascertain the success or otherwise of every throw, and when to stake and when not. I have special knowledge of the game. The son of Kunti is fond of dice, playing tog. He possesseth little skill in it. Summoned to play or battle, he is sure to come forward, and I will defeat him repeatedly at every throw by practicing deception. I promise to win out that wealth of his, and thou shalt then enjoy the same. King Duryodhana, thus addressed by Sakuni, without allowing a moment to elapse, said unto Dhritarashtra, This Sakuni, an adept at dice, is ready to win at dice the wealth of the sons of Pandu. It behoveth thee to grant him permission to do. Dhritarashtra replied, I always follow the counsels of Kishatha, my minister possessed of great wisdom. Having consulted with him, I will inform thee what my judgment is in respect of this affair, and that with great foresight he will, keeping morality before his eyes, tell us what is good and what is proper for both parties, and what should be done in this matter. Duryodhana said, If thou consultest with Kishatha, he will make thee desist, and if thou desist, I will certainly kill myself. And when I am dead, thou wilt become happy with Vidura. Thou wilt then enjoy the whole earth. What need hast thou with me? Dhritarashtra, hearing these words of affliction, uttered by Duryodhana from mixed feeling, himself ready to what Duryodhana had dictated, commanded his servants, saying, Let artificers be employed to erect without delay a delightful and handsome and spacious palace with 100 doors and 1,000 columns. And having brought carpets and joiners, set ye jewels and precious stones all over the walls, and making it handsome and easy of access, report to me when everything is complete. King Dhritarashtra, having made this resolution for the pacification of Duryodhana, sent messengers unto Vidura for summoning him. For, without taking counsel with Vidura, never did the monarch form any resolution. As regards the matter at hand, the king, although he knew the evils of gambling, was yet attracted towards it. The intelligent Vidura, however, as soon as he heard of it, knew that the arrival of Kali was at hand. And seeing that the way to destruction was about to open, he quickly came to Dhritarashtra, and Vidura, approaching his illustrious eldest brother, and bowing down unto his feet, said these words, I do not approve of this resolution that thou hast formed. It behoveth thee to act in such a way that no dispute may arise between thy children on account of this gambling match. Dhritarashtra replied, If the gods be merciful unto us, assuredly no dispute will ever arise amongst my sons. Therefore, auspicious or otherwise, beneficial or otherwise, let his friendly challenge at dice proceed. Even this, without doubt, is what fate hath ordained for us. When I am near, and Drona, and Bhishma, and thou too, nothing evil that even fate might have ordained is likely to happen. Go thou on a car yoking thereto, horses endued with the speed of the wind, that thou mayest reach Kihandava Prastiha even today, and bring thou Yudhishthira with thee. And I tell that even this is my resolution. Tell me nothing. I regard fate as supreme, which bringeth out this. Hearing these words of Dhritarashtra, and concluding that his race was doomed, Vidura, in great sorrow, went unto Bhishma, and with great wisdom. How did that game at dice take place, fraught with such evil to the cousins, and through which my grandsires were plunged into such sorrow? What kings were present in that assembly, and who amongst them approved of the gambling match, and who amongst them forbade it? I desire thee to recite in detail all about this, which indeed was the cause of the destruction of the world. Thus addressed by the king, the disciple of Vyasa, and with great energy, and conversant with the entire Vedas, narrated everything that had happened. If thou desirest to hear, then listen to me as I narrate to thee everything again in detail. Ascertaining the opinion of Vidura, Dhritarashtra, calling Duryodhana, told him again in private, Have nothing to do with dice. Vidura doth not speak well of it. Possessed of great wisdom, he will never give me advice that is not for my good. I regard what Vidura saith exceedingly beneficial for me. Do that, for I regard it all for thy good. Indeed, Vidura knoweth with all its mysteries the science that the lustrous and learned and wise Vrihaspati, the celestial rish, who is the spiritual guide of Vasava, had unfolded unto the wise chief of the immortals. I always accept what Vidura advises. The wise Udihava is ever regarded amongst the Vrishnis. Is Vidura possessed of great intelligence, esteemed the foremost of the Kurus? Have nothing to do with dice. It is evident that dice showeth dissensions, and dissensions are the ruin of the kingdom. Abandon this idea of gambling. Thou hast obtained from us. It hath been ordained, a father and a mother should give unto their son ancestral rank and possessions. Thou art educated and clever in every branch of knowledge, and hast been brought up with affection in thy paternal dwelling. Born the eldest among all thy brothers, living within thy own kingdom, why regardest thou thyself unhappy? Thou obtainest food and nectar of the very best kind, and which is not obtainable by ordinary men. Why dost thou grieve yet? Ruling thy large ancestral kingdom, swelling with people and wealth, thou shinest splendidly, the chief of the celestials in heaven. Thou art possessed of wisdom. It behoveth thee to tell me what can be the root of this grief that hath made thee melancholy. Duryodhana replied, I am a sinful wretch, because I eat and dress beholding. It hath been said that man is a wretch who is not filled with jealousy at the sight of his enemy's prosperity. This kind of prosperity of mine doth not gratify me. Beholding that blazing prosperity of the son of Kunti, I am very much pained. I tell thee strong must be my vitality, in much I am living even at the sight of the whole earth, owning the sway of Yudhishthira. The Nipas, the Hitrakas, the Kukuras, the Karaskaras, and the Lauha Jangihas are living in the palace of Yudhishthira like bondsmen. The Himavat, the Ocean, the regions on the sea shore, and the numberless other regions that yield deals and jams have all acknowledged superiority of the mansion of Yudhishthira in respect of wealth it containeth. Regarding me, the heirs and the entitled to respect, Yudhishthira, having received me respectful, appointed me in receiving the Jews and jams, the meat and the like of the excellent and invaluable Jews that were brought there have not been seen, and my hands were fatigued in receiving that wealth, and when I was tired, then that brought those valuable articles from distant regions, used to wait till I was able to resume my labor, bringing Jews from the lake window. The Azure architect Maya constructed a lake-like surface made of crystal. Beholding the lotuses with which it was filled, I mistook it for water, and seeing me draw up my clothes, Vrikodara loghead at me, regarding me as waiting in Jews, and having lost my head at the sight of the affluence of my enemy. If I had the ability, I would, without the loss of a moment, slay Vrikodara for that. If we endeavor to slay Bhishma now, without doubt, ours will be the fate of Sisupala. That ensued by the foe burneth me. Once again, beholding a similar lake that is really full of water, which I mistook for a crystal surface, I fell into it. At that, Bhishma with Arjuna, once more loghead derisively, and Draupadi, accompanied by other females, joined in the laughter that paineth my heart exceedingly. My apparel having been wet, the menials at the command of the king gave me other clothes. That is my great sorrow. Hear now of another mistake that I speak of, in attempting to pass through what is exactly of the shape of a door, through which there was really no passage. I struck my forehead against a stone and injured myself. The twins Nakula and Sahadeva, beholding from a distance that I was hit at the head, came and supported me in their arms, expressing great concern for me, and Sahadeva repeatedly told me with a smile, "This is the door, go this way." And Bhishmasena, laughing aloud, addressed me and said, "This is the door." I had not even heard of the names of those gems that I saw in that mansion, and it is for this reason that my heart acheth. Duryodhana said, "Listen now about all the most costly articles I saw, belonging unto the sons of Pandu, and brought on after another by the kings of the earth. Beholding that wealth of the foe, I lost my reason, and scarcely knew myself, and listening I described that wealth consisting of both manufactures and the produce of the land. The king of Cambodia gave innumerable skins of the best kind, and blankets made of wool, of the soft fur, of hodents and other buhogers, and of the hair of cats, all inlaid with trees of gold. And he gave 300 horses of the Titeti and the Kalmasha species, possessing noses like parrots. And he gave 300 camels and an equal number of she-asses, all fattened with the olives and the pilusha, and innumerable Brahmanas engaged in hearing cattle and occupied in low offices for the gratification of the illustrious King Yudhishthira the Just, waited at the gate with 300 millions of tribute. They were denied admission into the palace. And hundreds upon hundreds of Brahmanas, possessing wealth of kind and living upon the lands that Yudhishthira had given them, came there with their handsome golden kamandalus, filled with clarified butter, and though they had brought such tribute, they were refused admission into the palace. And the Sudra kings that dwelt in the regions on the sea coast brought with them 100,000 of serving girls of the Karpasika country, all of beautiful features, and slender waist, and luxuriant hair, and decked in golden ornaments, and many skins of the hanku deer, worthy even of Brahmanas. Tribute unto King Yudhishthira. And the tribes Vaihamas, Paradas, Tungas, with the Kitavas, who lived upon crops that depend on water from the sky or of the rivers, and they who were born in regions on the seashore, in woodlands, or countries on the other side of the ocean, waited at the gate, being refused permission to enter, with goats, and kine, and asses, and camels, and vegetable honey, and blankets, and dews, and jams of various kinds. And that great warrior, King Bihagadatta, the brave ruler of Pragjyotisha, and the might sovereignty of the Malek house, at the head of a large number of Yavanas, waited at the gate, unable to enter, with a considerable tribute, comprising of horses of the best breed, and possessing the speed of the wind. And King Bihagadatta had to go away from the gate, making over a number of swords with handles made of the purest ivory, and well adorned with diamonds and every kind of gems. And many tribes coming from different regions, of whom some possessed 2 eyes, some 3, and some had eyes on their foreheads, and those called Ausmikas, and Nishadas, and Homakas, some cannibals, and men possessing on leg, Asau, standing at the gate, being refused permission to enter. And these diverse rulers brought tribute 10,000 asses of diverse hues, and black necks, and hook bodies, and great speed, and much docility, and celebrated all over the world. And these asses were all of goodly size and delightful color, and they were all bred on the coast of Vankhu. And there were many kings that gave unto Yudhishthira much gold and silver, and having given much tribute, they obtained admission into the palace of Yudhishthira. The people that came there, possessing on leg, gave unto Yudhishthira many wild horses, some of which were red as the cochineal, and some white, and some possessing the hues of the rainbow, and some looking like evening clouds, and some that were of variegated color. And they were all ended with the speed of the mind, and they gave unto the king enough gold of superior quality. I saw numberless kings, and sakas, and udras, and many barbarous tribes living in the woods, and many vrishnis, and haranas, and dusk tribes of the Himavat, and many nipas, and people residing in the regions on the sea coast, waiting at the gate, being refused permission to enter. And the people of Valhika gave unto him as tribute 10,000 asses of goodly size and black necks, and daily running 200 miles. And those asses were of many shapes, and they were well trained and celebrated all over the world, and possessed of symmetrical proportion and excellent color. Their skins were pleasant to the touch, and the Valhikas presented numerous blankets of woolen texture manufactured in Hin, and numerous skins of the hanku deer, in cloths manufactured from jute, in others woven with the trees spun by insects, and they gave thousands of other clothes not made of cotton, possessing the color of the lotus, and these were all of smooth texture, and they gave soft sheepskins by thousands. And they gave many sharp and long swords, and scimitars, and hatchets, and fine-edged battle axes, manufactured in the western countries, and having presented perfumes, and jewels, and jams of various kinds by thousands, as tribute, they waited at the gate, being refused admission into the palace. And the sakas, and tukihatas, and tukiharas, and kankas, and homakas, and men with horns, bringing with them as tribute numerous large elephants, and 10,000 horses, and hundreds of millions of gold, waited at the gate, being refused permission to enter. And the kings of the eastern countries, having presented numerous valuable articles, including many costly carpets, and vehicles, and beds, and armors of diverse hues, decked with jewels, and gold, and ivory, and weapons of various kinds, and cars of various shapes, and handsome make, and adorned with gold, with well-trained horses, trimmed with tiger skins, and rich and variegated blankets for capricorning elephants, and various kinds of jewels, and gems, arrows long and short, and various other kinds of weapons, obtained permission to enter the sacrificial palace of the illustrious Pandava. Duryodhana said, "Listen to me as I describe that large mass of wealth, consisting of various kinds of tribute, presented unto Yudhishthira by the kings of the earth, they that dwelt by the side of the river Sailoda, flowing between the mountains of Mer and Mandara, and enjoy the delicious shade of tops of the Kikhaka bamboo, the Kihashas, Ekasanas, the Arhas, the Pradaras, the Dirgihavenus, the Paradas, the Kulindas, the Tanganas, and the other Tanganas brought as tribute heaps of gold measured in dronas, and raised from underneath the earth by ants, and therefore called after these creatures. The mountain tribes ended with great strength, having brought as tribute numerous hamaras, soft and black, and others white as moonbeam, and sweet honey extracted from the flowers growing on the Himavat, from the Mishalia, Hampaka, and garlands of flowers brought from the region of the northern Kurus, and diverse kinds of plants from the north, even from Kailasa, waited with their heads bent down at the gate of King Yudhishthira, being refused permission to enter. I beheld there numberless chiefs of the Kiratas armed with cruel weapons, and ever engaged in cruel deeds, eating of fruits and roots, and attired in skins, and living on the northern slopes of the Himavat, and on the mountains from behind which the sun rises, and in the region of Karusha, on the sea coast, and on both sides of the Lohitia mountains. And having brought with them as tribute lowers upon lowers of sandal and aloe, and black aloe, and heaps upon heaps of valuable skins, and gold, and perfumes, and 10,000 serving girls of their own race, and many beautiful animals, and birds of remote countries, and much gold of great splendor procured from mountains. The Kiratas waited at the gate, being refused permission to enter. The Kairatas, the Daradas, the Darvas, the Suras, the Vayamakas, the Audumvaras, the Durvibihagas, the Paradas along with the Valikas, the Kashmiras, the Kumaras, the Gihohakas, the Hansakayanas, the civis, the trigartas, the Yaduheyas, the ruler of Madras, and the Kaikeyas, the Amvastas, the Kaukuras, the Tarkishiyas, the Vastrapas, along with the Palhavas, the Vashatayas, the Mauleyas, along with the Kishudrakas, and the Malavas, and Paundriyas, the Kukuras, the Sakas, the Angas, the Vangas, the Pungras, the Sanavatiyas, and the Gayas, these good and well-born Kishatriyas, distributed into regular clans and trained to the use of arms, brought tribute unto King Yudhishthira by hundreds and thousands. And the Vangas, the Kalingas, the Magadhas, the Tamralipitas, the Supundrakas, the Dauvalikas, the Sagahakas, the Patronas, the Saisavas, and innumerably Karnapravaranas, who presented themselves at the gate, were told by the gatekeeper, at the command of the king, that if they could wait and bring good tribute, they could obtain admission. Then the kings of those nations each gave 1,000 elephants, furnished with tusks like unto the shafts of ploughs, and lacked with girdles made of gold, and covered with fine blankets, and therefore resembling the lotus in hue. And they were audacious as hawks, and always moved, and procured from the sides of the Kamiaka lake, and covered with defensive armor. And they were exceedingly patient, and of the best breed. And having made these presents, those kings were permitted to enter. These and many others, coming from various regions, and numberless other illustrious kings, brought Jews and jams unto this sacrifice. And Hitrahatiha, the king of Gandhiharvas, the friend of Indra, gave 400 horses, gifted with the speed of the wind, and the Gandhiharva Tumburu gladly gave 100 horses of the color of mango leaf, and decked in gold. And the celebrated king of the Melekha tribe, called the Sukaras, gave many hundreds of excellent elephants. And Virata, the king of Matsya, gave as tribute 2,000 elephants decked in gold. And King Vasudana, from the kingdom of Pansu, presented unto the son of Pandu 26 elephants and 2,000 horses, all decked in gold, and endowed with speed and strength, and in full vigor of youth, and divers other kinds of wealth. And Yajnasena presented unto the sons of Pandu for the sacrifice 14,000 serving girls and 10,000 serving men with their wives, many hundreds of excellent elephants, 26 cars with elephants yoked unto them, and his whole kingdom. And Vasudeva of the Vrishnihes, in order to enhance the dignity of Arjuna, gave 14,000 of excellent elephants. Indeed, Krishna is the soul of Arjuna, and Arjuna is the soul of Krishna, and whatever Arjuna may say, Krishna is certain to accomplish. And Krishna is capable of abandoning heaven itself for the sake of Arjuna, and Arjuna is capable of sacrificing his life for the sake of Krishna. And the kings of Hola and Pandya, they brought numberless jars of gold filled with fragrant sandal juice from the hills of Malaya, and loaves of sandal and aloe wood from the Darduras hills, and many gems of great brilliance, and fine clothes inlaid with gold, did not obtain permission. And the king of the Singhihalas gave those best of sea-born gems called the laps lazuli, in heaps of pearls, and hundreds of coverlets for elephants, and numberless dark-colored men with the ends of their eyes had as copper, attired in clothes decked with gems, waited at the gate with those presents, and numberless Brahmanas and Kshatriyas who had been vanquished, and Vaisyas and serving Sudras, from love of Yudhishthira, brought tribute unto the son of Pandu, and even all the Mlekhas, from love and respect, came unto Yudhishthira, and all orders of men, good, indifferent, and low, belonging to numberless races, coming from diverse lands, made Yudhishthira habitation, the epitome of the world. And beholding the kings of the earth to present unto the foes such excellent and valuable presents, I wished for death out of grief. I will now tell thee of the servants of the Pandavas, people for whom Yudhishthira supplieth food, both cooked and uncooked. There are 100,000 billions of mounted elephants and cavalry, and 100 millions of cars and countless foot soldiers. At one place raw provisions are being measured out, at another they are being cooked, and at another place the foods are being distributed, and the notes of festivity are being heard everywhere. And amongst men of all orders I beheld not a single one in the mansion of Yudhishthira that had not food and drink and ornaments, and 8,000 of Snataka Brahmanas leading domestic lives, all supported by Yudhishthira, with 30 serving girls given unto each, gratified by the king, always pray with complacent heart for the destruction of his foes, and 10,000 of other ascetics, with vital seed draw up, daily eat of golden plates in Yudhishthira palace, and Yajnaseni, without having eaten herself daily, seeth whether everybody, including even the deformed and the dwarfs, have eaten or not. On two do not pay tribute unto the son of Kunti, the Pankhalas, in the consequence of their relationship by marriage, and the Andihakas and Vrishnis in consequence of their friendship. Duryodhana said, those kings that are revered over all the world, who are devoted to truth, and who are pledged to the observance of rigid vows, who are possessed of great learning and eloquence, who are full conversant with the Vedas and their branches, with sacrifice, who have piety and modesty, whose souls are devoted to virtue, who possess fame, and who have enjoyed the grand rites of coronation, all wait upon and worship Yudhishthira. I beheld there many thousands of wine kine, with many vessels of white copper, for milking them, brought thither by the kings of the earth, sacrificial presents to be given away by Yudhishthira unto the Brahmana. For bathing Yudhishthira at the conclusion of the sacrifice, many kings with the greatest alacrity themselves brought there in a state of purity many excellent jars, and King Valika brought there a car decked with pure gold, and King Sodakishina himself yoked thereto 4 white horses of Cambodia breed, and Sunitiha of great might fitted the lower pole, and the ruler of Khedi with his own hands took up and fitted the flag staff. And the king of the southern country stood ready with the coat of mail, the ruler of Magadha with garlands of flowers and the headgear, the great warrior Vasudana with a 60-year-old elephant, the king of Matsya with the side fittings of the car, all encased in gold, King Ekalavya with the shoes, the king of Avanti with diverse kinds of water for the final bath, King Hekitana with the kiva, the king of Kasi with the bow, and Salia with a sword whose hilt and straps were adorned with gold. Then the Haumia and Vyasa of great ascetic merit, with Narada and Asita son Devala, standing before performed the ceremony of sprinkling the sacred water over the king. And the great rishis were cheerful hearts sat where the sprinkling ceremony was performed. And other illustrious rishis conversant with the Vedas, with Jamadagni son, among them approached Yudhishthira, the giver of large sacrificial presents, uttering mantras all the while, like the 7 rishis approaching the great Indra in heaven. And Satyaki of unbaffled prowess held the umbrella. And the Dhananjaya and Bhishma were engaged in fanning the king, while the twins held a couple of hamaras in their hands. And the ocean himself brought in a sling that big conch of Varuna, which the celestial artificer, Visvakarman, had constructed with 1,000 niskas of gold, in which Prajapati had in a former kalpa presented unto Indra. It was with that conch that Krishna bathed Yudhishthira after the conclusion of the sacrifice, and beholding it, a swooned away. People go to the eastern or the western seas, and to the southern on. None expect birds can ever go to the northern sea. The Pandavas have spread their dominions even there, for I heard hundreds of conches that had been brought thence blown, indicative of auspicious rejoicing. And while those conches blew simultaneously, my hair stood on end. And those among the kings who were weak in strength fell down, and Dhristadyumna and Satyaki, and the sons of Pandu and Kesava, those 8 endowed with strength and prowess and handsome in person, beholding the kings deprived of consciousness, and myself in that plight, loghead outright. Then Vibhihatsu, with a cheerful heart, gave unto the principal Brahmanas 500 bullocks with horns plated with gold. And King Yudhishthira, having completed the Rajasuya sacrifice, obtaining like the exalted Harishchandra such prosperity that neither Hatnideva, nor Nabhihaga, nor Jauvanasva, nor Manu, nor King Pritihu, nor Vihagihatiha, nor Yayati, nor Nahusha had obtained its like. Beholding such prosperity in the son of Pritha, which is even like that which Harishchandra had, I do not see the least good in continuing to live. A yoke that is tired, by a blind man becomes loosened. Even such is the case with us. The younger ones are growing while the elders on are decaying. And beholding all this, I cannot enjoy peace even with the aid of reflection. And it is for this that I am plunged into grief and becoming pale and emaciated. Dhritarashtra said, Thou art my eldest son and born of my eldest wife. Therefore, be not jealous of the Pandavas. He that is jealous is always unhappy and suffereth the pangs of death. Yudhishthira knoweth not deception. Possesseth wealth equal unto thine, hath thy friends for his, and is not jealous of thee. Why shouldst thou be jealous of him? In respect of friends and allies, thou art equal unto Yudhishthira. Why shouldst thou covet from folly the property of thy brother? Be not, cease to be jealous, do not grieve. If thou covetest the dignity attaching to the performance of a sacrifice, let the priest arrange for thee the great sacrifice called the Sapitatantu. The kings of the earth will then, cheerful and with great respect, bring for thee much wealth and gems and ornaments. Coveting other possessions is exceedingly mean. He, on the other hand, enjoyeth happiness who is content with his own being engaged in the practice of his own order, never striving to obtain the wealth of others, persevering in own affairs, and protecting what have been earned. These are the indications of true greatness. He that is unmoved in calamity, is skilled in his own business, ever exerting vigilance and humbly, always beholdeth prosperity. The sons of Pandu are thy arms. Do not loop off those arms of thine. Plunge not into internal dissensions, for the sake of that wealth of thy brothers. Be not jealous of the sons of Pandu. Thy wealth is equal unto that of thy brothers in his entirety. There is great sin in quarrelling with friends. They that are thy grandsires are theirs. Give away in charity on occasions of sacrifice. Gratify every dear object of thy desire. Disport in the company of women freely, and enjoy thou peace. Duryodhana said, he that is devoid of intellect, hath merely heard of many things, can scarcely understand the real import of the scriptures, like the spoon that hath no perception of the taste of the soup it toucheth. Thou knowest everything, yet confoundest me, like a boat fastened to another. Thou and I are tied to each other. Art thou unmindful of thy own interest? Dost thou entertain hostile feeling towards me? These thy sons and allies are doomed to destruction, inasmuch as they have thee for their ruler. For thou describest attainably in the future what is to be done at the present moment. He often trippeth whose guided acts under the instruction of others. How then can his followers expect to come across a right path? Thou art of mature wisdom. Thou hast the opportunity to listen to the words of the old, and thy senses are under thy control. It behoveth thee not to confound us who are ready to seek our own interest. Brihaspati hath said that the usage of kings are different from those of common people. Therefore, kings should always attend to their own interest with vigilance. The attainment of success is the sole criterion that should guide the conduct of a kshatriya. Whether, therefore, the means is virtuous or sinful, what scruples can there be in the duties of own order? He that is desirous of snatching the blazing prosperity of his foe should bring every direction under his subjection, like the charioteer taming the steeds with his whip. Those used to handling weapons say that a weapon is not simply an instrument that cuts, is a means, whether covert or overt, that can defeat a foe. Who is to be reckoned a foe, and who a friend, doth not depend on own figure or dimensions. He that paineth another is to be regarded a foe by him that is pained. Discontent is the root of prosperity. Therefore, a desire to be discontented. He that striveth after the acquisition of prosperity is a true politic person. Nobody should be attached to wealth and affluence, for the wealth that hath been earned and hoarded may be plundered. The usages of kings are even such. It was during a period of peace that Sakra cut off the head of Namukhi after having given a pledge to the contrary, and it was because he approved of this eternal usage towards the enemy that he did, like a snake that swalloweth up frogs and other creatures living in holes. The earth swalloweth up a king that is peaceful, and a Brahmana that stirreth not out of home. None can be natured by any person for. his own foe, and not anybody else, who have common pursuits with on, he that from folly neglecteth a growing foe, hath his vital cut off by disease, that he cherisheth without treatment. A foe, however insignificant, if suffered to grow in prowess, swalloweth on like the white ants at the root of a tree, eating of the tree itself. Let not the prosperity of the foe be acceptable to thee. This policy should always be borne on their heads, but the wise even like a lord. He that always wisheth for the increase of his wealth, ever groweth in the midst of his relatives, even like the body naturally growing from the moment of birth. Prowess conferreth speed growth. Coveting do the prosperity of the Pandavas, I have not yet made it my own. At present I am a prey to doubts in respect of my ability. I am determined to resolve those doubts of mine. I will either obtain that prosperity of theirs, or lie down having perished in battle. When the state of my mind is such, what do I care now for life? For the Pandavas are daily growing, while our possessions know no increase. Sakuni said, I will snatch this prosperity of Yudhishthira, at the sight of which thou grievest. Therefore let Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, be summoned, but throwing dice a skillful man, himself uninjured, may vanquish on that have no skill. Know that beating is my bow, the dice are my arrows, the marks on them my bowstring, and the dice board my car. Duryodhana said, this Sukuni, skilled at dice, is ready to snatch the prosperity of the son of Pandu by means of dice. It behoveth thee to give him permission. Dhritarashtra said, I am obedient to the counsels of my brother, the illustrious Vidura. Consulting with him, I shall tell what should be done in this matter. Duryodhana said, Vidura is always engaged in doing good to the sons of Pandu. His feelings towards us are otherwise. He will, therefore, without doubt, withdraw thy heart from the proposed act. No man should set himself to any task depending upon the counsels of another, for the minds of two persons seldom agree in any particular act. The fool that liveth shunning all causes of fear wasteth himself like an insect in the rain season. Neither sickness nor yama waiteth till one is in prosperity. So long, therefore, as there is life and health, one should accomplish his purpose. Dhritarashtra said, hostility with those that are strong is what never recommendeth itself to me. Hostility bringeth about a change of feelings, and that itself is a weapon, though not made of steel. Thou regardest a great blessing what will bring in its train the terrible consequence of war, what is really fraught with mischief. If once it beginneth, it will create sharp swords and pointed arrows. Duryodhana replied, men of the most ancient times invented the use of dice. There is no destruction in it, nor is there any striking with weapons. Let the words of Sakuni, therefore, be acceptable to thee, and let thy command be ensued for the speed construction of the assembly house. The door of heaven, leading us to such happiness, will be opened to us by gambling. Indeed, they that betake to gambling deserve such good fortune. The Pandavas then will become thy equals. Therefore, gamble thou with the Pandavas. Dhritarashtra said, the words uttered by thee do not recommend themselves to me. Do what may be agreeable to thee. Thou shalt have to repent for acting according to these words, for words that are fraught with such immorality can never bring prosperity in the future. Even this was foreseen by the learned Vidura, ever treading the path of truth and wisdom. Even the great calamity, destructive of lives of the Kshatriyas, cometh destined by fate. Having said this, the weak-minded Dhritarashtra regarded fate supreme and unavoidable, and the king, deprived of reason by fate and obedient to the counsels of his son, commanded his men in a loud voice, saying, "Careful, construct without loss of time an assembly house of the most beautiful description, to be called the crystal arched palace, with 1,000 columns, decked with gold and lapis lazuli, furnished with 100 gates, and full 2 miles in length and in breadth the same." Hearing those words of his, thousands of artificers, endowed with intelligence and skill, soon erected the palace with the greatest alacrity, and having erected it, brought thither every kind of article. And soon after they cheerfully represented unto the king that the palace had been finished, and that it was delightful and handsome, and furnished with every kind of gems, and covered with many-colored carpets, inlaid with gold. Then King Dhritarashtra, possessed of learning, summoning Vidura, the chief of his ministers, said, repairing, "Bring Prince Yudhishthira here without loss of time. Let him come hither with his brothers, and behold his handsome assembly house of mine, furnished with countless jewels and gems and costly beds and carpets, and let a friendly match at dice commence here." King Dhritarashtra, ascertaining the inclination of his son, and knowing that fate is inevitable, did what I have said. Vidura, however, that foremost of intelligent men, approved not his brother's words, and spoke thus, "I approve not of this command of thine. Do not act. I fear this will bring about the destruction of our race. When thy sons lose their night, dissension will certainly ensue amongst them. These I apprehend from this match at dice." Dhritarashtra said, "If fate be not hostile, this quarrel will not certainly grieve me. The whole universe moveth at the will of its creator, under the controlling influence of fate. It is not free. Therefore, going unto King Yudhishthira at my command, bring thou soon that invincible son of Kunti." Vidura then, thus commanded against his will by King Dhritarashtra, set out with the help of horses of high mettle, and ended with great speed and strength, and quiet and patient, for the abode of the wise sons of Pandu. Possessed of great intelligence, Vidura proceeded by the way leading to the capital of the Pandavas, and having arrived at the seat of King Yudhishthira, he entered it and proceeded towards the palace, worshipped by numberless Brahmanas. And coming to the palace, which was even like unto the mansion of Kuvera himself, the virtuous Vidura approached Yudhishthira, the son of Tiharma, then the illustrious Ajamida, devoted to truth and having no enemy on earth, reverentially saluted Vidura, and asked him about Dhritarashtra and his sons. And Yudhishthira said, "Thy mind seemeth to be cheerless. Dost thou come here in happiness and peace? The sons of Dhritarashtra, I hope, are obedient to their old father. The people, I hope, are obedient to Dhritarashtra's rule." Vidura said, "The illustrious king with his sons is well and happy, and surrounded by his relatives he reigneth even like Indra himself. The king is happy with his sons, who are obedient to him and have no grief. The illustrious monarch is bent on his own aggrandizement. The king of the Kurus hath commanded me to inquire after thy peace and prosperity, and to ask thee to repair to Hastinapur with thy brothers, and to say, after beholding King Dhritarashtra newly erected palace, whether that one is equal to thy own. Repairing thither with thy brothers, enjoy ye in that mansion, and sit to a friendly match at dice. We shall be glad if thou goest. The Kurus have already arrived there, and thou wilt see there those gamblers and cheats that the illustrious King Dhritarashtra have already brought thither. It is for this that I have come hither. Let the king command be approved by thee. Yudhishthira said, if we sit to a match at dice, we may quarrel. What man is there who, knowing all this, will consent to gambling? What dost thou think fit for us? We are obedient to thy counsels. Vidura said, I know that gambling is the root of misery, and I strove to dissuade the king from it. The king, however, hath sent me to thee, having known all this. Do what is beneficial. Yudhishthira said, besides the sons of Dhritarashtra, what other dishonest gamblers are there ready for play? Tell us who they are and with whom we shall have to play, stacking hundreds upon hundreds of our possessions. Vidura said, Sakuni, the king of Gandhara, an adept at dice, having great skill of hand and desperate in stakes, Vivingati, King Hitrasena, Satyavrata, Purumitra, and Jaya, these are there. Yudhishthira said, it won't seem then that some of the most desperate and terribly gamblers, always depending upon the state, are there. This whole universe, however, is at the will of its maker, under the control of fate. It is not free. I do not desire, at the command of King Dhritarashtra, to engage myself in gambling. The father always wisheth to benefit his son. Thou art our master. Tell me what is proper for us, unwilling as I am to gambling. I will not do, if the wicked Sakuni doth not summon me to eat in the Sabha. If, however, he challengeth me, I will never refuse, for that, as settled, is my eternal vow. King Yudhishthira, the just, having said this unto Vidura, commanded that preparations for his journey might be made without loss of time. And the next day the king, accompanied by his relatives and attendants, and taking with him the women of the household, with Draupadi in their midst, set out for the capital of the Kurus. Like some brilliant body falling before the eyes, fate depriveth us of reason, and men, tired as it were with a cord, submitteth to the sway of providence. Saying this, King Yudhishthira set out with Kishata, without deliberating upon that summons from Dhritarashtra. Riding upon the car that had been given by the king of Valhika, and attired in royal robes, set out with his brothers. And the king, blazing as it were with royal splendor, with Brahmanas walking before him, set out from his city, summoned by Dhritarashtra, and impelled by what hath been ordained by Kala, and arriving at Hastinapur, he went to the palace of Dhritarashtra, and going there, the son of Pandu approached the king. And the exalted one then approached Bhishma, and Drona, and Karna, and Kripa, and the son of Drona, and was embraced by them all. And the might-armed one ended with great prowess, then approached Somadatta, and then Duryodhana, and Salya, and the son of Suvala, and those other kings that had arrived there before him. The king then went to the brave Dushasana, and then to all his brothers, and then to Jayadratha, and next to all the Kurus one after another, and the might armed on, then surrounded by all his brothers, entered the apartment of the wise king Dhritarashtra. And then Yudhishthira beheld the heaven-ended Gandhari, ever obedient to her lord, and surrounded by her daughter-in-law, like Rohini, by the stars, and saluting Gandhari, and blessed by her in return. The king then beheld his old uncle, that illustrious monarch whose wisdom was his eye. King Dhritarashtra then smelt his head, and the heads of those 4 other princes of the Kuru race, the sons of Pandu, with Bhimasena as their eldest. And beholding the handsome Pandava, those tigers among men, all the Kurus became exceedingly glad. And commanded by the king, the Pandavas then retired to the chambers allotted to them, in which were all furnished with jewels and gems. And when they had retired into the chambers, the woman of Dhritarashtra's household with Dusala, taking the lead, visited them. And the daughter-in-law of Dhritarashtra, beholding the blazing and splendid beauty and prosperity of Yajinaseni, became sheetless and filled with jealousy. And those tiger among men, having conversed with the ladies, went through their daily physical exercise, and then performed the religious rites of the day. And having finished their daily devotions, they decked their persons with sandal paste of the most fragrant kind, and desiring to secure good luck and prosperity, they caused the Brahmanas to utter benedictions. And then, eating food that was of the best taste, they retired to their chambers for the night. And those bulls among the Kurus then were put to sleep with music by handsome females, and obtaining from them what came in due succession. Those subjugators of hostile towns passed with cheerful hearts that delightful night in pleasure and sport, and waked by the bards with sweet music, they rose from their beds, and having passed the night thus in happiness, they rose at dawn. And having gone through the usual rites, they entered into the assembly house, and were saluted by those that were ready there for gambling. The sons of Pritha, with Yudhishthira at their head, having entered that assembly house, approached all the kings that were present there, and worshipping all those that deserved to be worshipped, and saluting others, each deserved according to age, they seated themselves on seats that were clean and furnished with costly carpets. After they had taken their seats, all the kings, Sakuni, the son of Suvala, addressed Yudhishthira and said, "The assembly is full. All had been waiting for thee. Let the dice be cast and the rules of play be fixed." Yudhishthira replied, "Deceitful gambling is sinful. There is no Kshatriya prowess in it. There is certainly no morality in it. Why then dost thou praise gambling? The wise applaud not the pride that gamesters feel in deceitful play. Vanquish us, not like a wretch, but deceitful means." Sakuni said, "That high-souled player who knoweth the secrets of winning and losing, who is skilled in baffling the deceitful arts of his confrery, who is untied in all the diverse operations of which gambling consisteth, truly knoweth the play, and he suffereth all in course of it. It is the stacking at dice, which may be lost or won, that may injure us. And it is for that reason that gambling is regarded as a fault. let us begin the play. Fear not, let the stakes be fixed, delay not. Yudhishthira said, that best of Munis, Devala, the son of Asita, who always instructeth us about all those acts that may lead to heaven, hell, or the other regions, have said, that it is sinful to play deceitful with a gamester, to obtain victory in battle without cunning or stratagem, is the best sport. Gambling, however, as a sport, is not. Those that are respectable never use the language of the Melekhas, nor do they adopt deceitfulness in their behavior, or carried on without crookedness and cunning. This is the act of men that are honest, do not, playing desperately, win of us that wealth with which, according to our abilities, we strive to learn how to benefit the Brahmanas. Even enemies should not be vanquished by desperate stakes in deceitful play. I do not desire either happiness or wealth by means of cunning. The conduct of one that is a gamester, even if it be without deceitfulness, should not be applauded. Sakuni said, it is from a desire of winning, which is not a very honest motive, that one high-born person approacheth another. It is from a desire of defeating, which is not a very honest motive, that one learned person approacheth another. Such motives, however, are scarcely regarded as real dishonest. A person skilled at dice approacheth one that is not skilled from a desire of vanquishing him. One who is conversant with the truths of science approacheth another that is not from desire of victory, which is scarcely an honest motive. Such a motive is not real dishonest. And one that is skilled in weapons approacheth one that is not skilled. The strong approacheth the weak. This is the practice in every contest. The motive is victory. If, therefore, thou in approaching me regardest me to be actuated by motives that are dishonest, if thou art under any fear, desist then from play. Yudhishthira said, summoned, I do not withdraw. This is my established vow, and fate is all-powerful. We are under the control of destiny, with whom in this assembly I am to play. Who is there that can stake equally with me? Let the play begin. Duryodhana said, I shall supply jewels and gems and every kind of wealth, and it is for me that this Sakuni, my uncle, will play. Yudhishthira said, gambling for one's sake by the agents of another seemeth to me to be contrary to rule. Thou wilt admit this. If, however, thou art still bent on it, let the play begin. When the play commenced, all those kings with Dhritarashtra at their head took their seats in that assembly, and Bhishma, and Drona, and Kripa, and the high-souled Vidura, with shareless hearts, sat behind, and those kings with leonine necks, and endowed with great energy, took their seats, separately and in pairs, upon men elevated seats, of beautiful make and color, and that mansion looked resplendent with those assembled kings, like heaven itself, with a conclave of the celestials of great good fortune, and they were all conversant with the Vedas, and brave, and of resplendent countenance, and the friendly match at dice then commenced. Yudhishthira said, this excellent wealth of pearls of great value, procured from the ocean by shining it, beautiful and decked with pure gold. This is my stake. What is thy counter stake? The wealth with which thou wishest to play with me. Duryodhana said, I have many jewels and much wealth. I am not vain of them. Win thou this stake. Then Sakuni, well skilled at dice, took up the dice and said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Yudhishthira said, Thou hast won this stake of me by unfair means. Be not proud. Let us play stacking thousands upon thousands. I have many beautiful jars, each full of 1,000 niskas, in many treasury, inexhaustibly gold, and much silver, and other minerals. This is the wealth with which I will stake with thee. Thus addressed, Sakuni said unto the chief of the perpetuators of the Kuru race, the heirs of the sons of Pandu, King Yudhishthira, of glory incapable of sustaining and diminution. Lo, I have won. Yudhishthira said, This my sacred and victorious and royal car, which gladdeneth the heart and hath carried us hither, which is equal unto 1,000 cars, which is of symmetrical proportions, and covered with tiger skin, and furnished with excellent wells and flag staffs, which is handsome, and decked with strings of little bells, whose clatter is even like the roar of the clouds or of the ocean, and which is drawn by 8 noble steeds, known all over the kingdom, and which are white as the moon Viam, and from whose hoofs no terrestrial creature can escape. This is my wealth, with which I will stake with thee. Hearing these words, Sakuni, ready with the dice, and adopting unfair means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Yudhishthira said, I have 100,000 serving girls, all young and decked with golden bracelets on their wrists and upper arms, and with niskas round their necks, and other ornaments, adorned with costly garlands and attired in rich robes, daubed with the sandal past, wearing jewels and gold, and well skilled in 64 elegant arts, especially versed in dancing and singing, and who wait upon all serve at my command, the celestials, the Sinataka Brahmanas, and kings. With this wealth I will stake with thee. Hearing these words, Sakuni, ready with the dice, adopting unfair means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Yudhishthira said, I have thousands of serving men, skilled in waiting upon guests, always attired in silken robes, and with wisdom and intelligence, their senses under control, tall young, and decked with earrings, and who serve all guests night and day with plates and dishes in hand. With this wealth I will stake with thee. Hearing these words, Sakuni, ready with the dice, adopting unfair means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Yudhishthira said, I have 1,000 musked elephants with golden girdles, decked with ornaments, with the mark of the lotus on their temples and necks and other parts, adorned with golden garlands, with fine white tusks, long and thick as plough shafts, worthy of carrying kings on their backs, capable of bearing every kind of noise on the field of battle, with huge bodies, capable of battering down the walls of hostile towns, of the color of a new formed clowns, and each possessing 8 she-elephants. With this wealth I will stake with thee. Unto Yudhishthira, who had said, Sakuni, the son of Suvala, log-healing, said, Lo, I have won it. Yudhishthira said, I have as many cars as elephants, all furnished with golden poles, and flagstaffs, and well-trained horses, and warriors, that fight wonderful, and each of whom receiveth 1,000 coins as his monthly pay, whether he fighteth or not. With this wealth I will stake with thee. When these words had been spoken, the wretch Sakuni, pledged to end it, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won it. Yudhishthira said, The steeds of Titiri, Kalmasha, and Gandhiharva, breeds, decked with ornaments, which Hitrahatiha, having been vanquished in battle and subdued, Shahul gave unto Arjuna, the wielder of the Gandiva. With this wealth I will stake with thee. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready at dice, adopting unfair means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Yudhishthira said, I have 10,000 cars and vehicles unto which are yoked dragged animals of the foremost breed, and I have 60,000 warriors picked from each other by thousands, who are all brave and endowed with prowess like heroes, who drink milk and eat good rice, and all of whom have broad chests. With this wealth I will stake with thee. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready at dice, adopting unfair means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Yudhishthira said, I have 400 needles, encased in sheets of copper and iron. Each one of them is equal to 5 draunicas of the costliest and purest leaf gold of the Jatahupa kind. With this wealth I will stake with thee. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready at dice, adopting full means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won it. During the course of this gambling, certain to bring about utter ruin, Vidura, that the speller of all doubts, said, Attend to what I say, I'll talk, my words may not be agreeably to thee, like medicine, to one that is ill and about to breathe his last. When this Duryodhana of sinful mind had, immediately after his birth, cried discordantly like a jackal, it was well known that he had been ordained to bring about the destruction of the Bharata race. Know that he will be the cause of death of ye all. A jackal is living in thy house in the form of Duryodhana. Thou knowest it not in consequence of thy folly. Listen now to words of the poet, which I will quote. They that collect honey, having received what they seek, do not notice that they are about to fall, ascending dangerous heights. Abstracted in the pursuit of what they seek, they fall down and meet with destruction. This Duryodhana, maddened with the play at dice, like the collector of honey, abstracted in what he seeketh, marketh not the consequence. Making enemies of these great warriors, he beholdeth not the foe that is before him. It is known to thee that amongst the beholders they abandoned for the good of the citizens a son that was unworthy of their haste. The Andihakas, the Yadavas, and the beholders, uniting together, abandoned Kansa. And afterwards, when at the command of the whole tribe, the same Kansa had been slain by Krishna, that slayer of foes, all the men of the tribe became exceedingly happy for 100 years. At thy command let Arjuna slay this Suryodhana, and in consequence of the slaying of this wretch, let the Kurus be glad and pass their days in happiness. In exchange of a crow, buoy these peacocks, the Pandavas, and in exchange of a jackal, buoy these tigers. For the sake of a family, a member may be sacrificed. For the sake of a village, a family may be sacrificed. For the sake of a province, a village may be sacrificed. and for the sake of one own soul the whole earth may be sacrificed. Even this was what the omniscient Kavya himself, acquainted with the thoughts of every creature and a source of terror unto all foes, said unto the great Asura, to induce them to abandon Jambiha at the moment of his birth. It is said that a certain king, having caused a number of wild birds that vomited gold to take up their quarters in his own house, afterwards killed them from temptation. Blinded by temptation and the desire of enjoyment for the sake of gold, the king destroyed at the same time both his present and future gains. Therefore, prosecute not the Pandavas from desire of profit, even like the king in history. For then, blinded by folly, thou wilt have to repent afterwards, even like the person that killed the birds, like a flower seller that plucketh in the garden from trees that he cherisheth with affection from day to day. Continue to pluck flowers day by day from the Pandavas. Do not scorch them to their roots like a fire-producing breeze that reduceth everything to black charcoal. Go not unto the region of Yama with thy sons and troops, for who is there that is capable of fighting with the sons of Pritha together? Not to speak of others, if the chief of the Celestials at the head of the Celestials themselves capable of doing. Vidura said, gambling is the root of dissensions. It bringeth about disunion. Its consequences are frightful. Yet having recourse to this, Dhritarashtra's son Duryodhana createth for himself fierce enmity. The descendants of Pratipa and Santanu with their fierce troops and their allies, the Valikas, will, for the sins of Duryodhana, meet with destruction. Duryodhana, in consequence of this intoxication, forcibly driveth away luck and prosperity from his kingdom, even like an infuriate bull breaking his own horns himself. That brave and learned person who, disregarding his own foresight, followeth another man's heart, sinketh in terrible affliction, even like one that goeth into the sea in a boat guided by a child. Duryodhana is gambling with the son of Pandu, and thou art in raptures that he is winning, and it is such success that begetteth war, which endeth in the destruction of men. This fascination that thou hast well devised only leadeth to dear results. Thus hast thou simply brought on by these counsels great affliction to thy heart, and this thy quarrel with Yudhishthira, who is so closely related to thee, even if thou hadst no foresense it, is still approved by thee. Listen, ye sons of Santanu, ye descendants of Pratipa, who are now in this assembly of the Kauravas, to these words of wisdom. Enter ye not into the terrible fire that hath blazed forth following the wretch. When Ajatasattu, the son of Pandu, intoxicated with dice, giveth way to his wrath, and Vrikodara and Arjuna and the twins, who in that hour of confusion will prove your refuge. Thou art thyself a man of wealth, thou canst earn as much wealth as thou seekest to earn by gambling. What dost thou gain by winning from the Pandavas their vast wealth, when the Pandavas themselves, who will be to thee more than all the wealth they have? We all know the skill of Suvala in play. This hill king knoweth many nefarious methods in gambling. Let Sakuni return whence he came. War not with the sons of Pandu. Duryodhana said, Thou art always boasting of the fame of our enemies, deprecating their sons of Dhritarashtra. We know of whom thou art real fond. Thou always disregardest us as children. That man standeth confessed, who wisheth for success unto those that are near to him, and defeat unto those that not his favorites. His praise and blame are applied accordingly. Thy tongue and mind betray thy heart. The hostility thou showest in speech is even greater than what is in thy heart. Thou hast been cherished by us like a serpent on our lap. Like a cat thou wishest evil unto him that cherisheth thee. The wise have said that there is no sin graver than that of injuring on master. How is it that thou dost not fear this sin? Having vanquished our enemies, we have obtained great advantages. Use not harsh words in respect of us. Thou art always willing to make peace with the foes, and it is for this reason that thou hatest us always. A man becometh a foe by speaking words that are unpardonable. Then again in praising the enemy, the secrets of one's own part should not be divulged. Therefore, why dost thou obstruct us? Thou sayest whatever thou wishest. Insult us not. We know thy mind. Go and learn sitting at the feet of the old, king upon the reputation that thou hast won. Meddle not with the affairs of other men. Do not imagine it that thou art our chief. Tell us not harsh words always. We do not ask thee what is for our good. Cease, irritate not those that have already borne too much at thy hands. There is one controller, no second. He controlleth even the child that is in the mother womb. I am controlled by him, like water that always floweth in a downward course. I am acting precisely in the way in which he is directing me. He that breaketh his head against a stone wall, and he that feedeth a serpent, are guided in those acts of theirs by their own intellect. He becometh a foe who seeketh to control others by force. When advice, however, is offered in a friendly spirit, the learned bear with it. He again that hath set fire to such a highly inflammable object as camphor, beholdeth not its ashes, if he runneth immediately to extinguish it. One should not give shelter to another who is the friend of his foes, or to another who is ever jealous of his protector, or to another who is evil-minded. Therefore, go whithersoever thou pleasest. A wife that is unchaste, however well treated, forsaketh her husband yet. Vidyura, addressing Dhritarashtra, said, Tell us like a witness what thou thinkest of the conduct of those who abandon their serving men, thus for giving instruction to them. The hearts of kings are, indeed, very fickle. Granting protection at first, they strike with clubs at last. Thou regardest thyself as mature in intellect, and thou regardest me as a child. Consider that he is a child who, having first accepted one for a friend, subsequently findeth fault with him. An evil-hearted man can never be brought to the path of rectitude, like an unchaste wife in the house of a well-born person. Assuredly, instruction is not agreeably to this bull of the Mahabharata race, like a husband of 60 years to a damsel that is young. After this, if thou wishest to hear words that are agreeably to thee in respect of our acts good or bad, ask thou women and idiots and cripples or persons of that description. A sinful man speaking words that are agreeably may be had in this world. I speak of words that are disagreeable talk sound as him, or a hearer of the same, is very hard. He indeed is a king true ally, who, disregarding what is agreeably or disagreeably to his master, beareth himself virtuously, and uttereth what may be disagreeably, but necessary as him. Drink thou that which the honest drink, and the dishonest shun, even humility, which is like a medicine that is bitter, pungent, burning, and intoxicating disagreeably, and revolting, and drinking it, regain thou thy sobriety. I always wish the Dhritarashtra and his sons affluence and fame. Happen what may unto thee, here above to thee. Let the Brahmanas wish me well. This is the lesson I carefully inculcate, that the wise should never enrage such as others as have venom in their very glances. Sakuni said, Thou hast lost much wealth of the Pandavas. If thou hast still anything that thou hast not yet lost to us, tell us what it is. Yudhishthira said, I know that I have untold wealth. Why is it that thou ask me of my wealth? Let tens of thousands, and millions, and tens of millions, and hundreds of millions, and tens of billions, and hundreds of billions, and trillions, and tens of trillions, and hundreds of trillions, and tens of quadrillions, and hundreds of quadrillions, and even more wealth be stacked by thee. I have much. With that wealth I will play with thee. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready with the dice, adopting unfair means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Yudhishthira said, I have immeasurably kine, and horses, and mules, cows, with cows, and goats, and sheep, in the country extending from the Parnasa to the eastern bank of the Sindhu. With this wealth I will play with thee. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready with the dice, adopting unfair means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Yudhishthira said, I have my city, the country, land, the wealth of all dwelling therein, except of the Brahmanas, and all those persons themselves, except Brahmanas, is still remaining to me. With this wealth I will play with thee. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready with the dice, adopting foul means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Yudhishthira said, This prince here, who look resplendent in their ornaments, and their earrings, and niskas, and all the royal ornaments on their persons, are now my wealth. With this wealth I play with thee. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready with his dice, adopting foul means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won them. Yudhishthira said, This Nakula here, of marked arms, and leonine neck, of head eyes, and endowed with youth, is now my own stake. Know that he is my own wealth. Sakuni said, Prince Nakula is dear to thee. He is already under our subjection. With whom wilt thou now play? Saying this, Sakuni cast those dice, and said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, he hath been won by us. Yudhishthira said, This Sahadeva administereth justice. He hath acquired a reputation for learning in this world. However undeserving he may be to be stacked in play, with him as a stake I will play, with such a dear object, as if indeed he were not. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready with the dice, adopting foul means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Sakuni said, The sons of Madri, dear unto thee, have both been won by me. It won't seem, however, that Bhishmasena and Dhananjaya are regarded very much by thee. Yudhishthira said, wretch, thou actest sinful in thus seeking to create disunion amongst us who are all of unhurt, disregarding morality. Sakuni said, one that is intoxicated falleth into a pit, and stayeth there, deprived of the power of motion. Thou art senior to us in age, and possessed of the highest accomplishments. I bow to thee. Thou knowest that gamesters, while excited with play, utter such havings that they never indulge in the like of them in their waking moments, nor even in dream. Yudhishthira said, he that taketh us like a boat to the other shore of the sea of battle, he that is ever victorious over foes, the prince who is endowed with great activity, he who is the only hero in this world, with that Falguna as stake, however, undeserving of being made, I will now play with thee. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready with the dice, adopting foul means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Sakuni said, this foremost of all wielders of the bow, the son of Pandu, capable of using both his hands with equal activity, hath now been won by me. Play now with the wealth that is still left unto thee, even with Bhishma, thy dear brother, as thy stake. Yudhishthira said, however undeserving he may be of being made a stake, I will now play with thee by stacking Bhishmasena, that prince who is our leader, who is the foremost in fight, even like the wielder of the thunderbolt, the own enemy of the Danavas, the high-souled one with leonine neck and axe-head eyebrows and eyes looking askance, who is incapable of putting up with an insult, who hath no equal in might in the world, who is the foremost of all wielders of the mace, and who grindeth all foes. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready with the dice, adopting foul means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Sakuni said, thou hast lost much wealth, horses and elephants, and thy brothers as well. Say if thou hast anything which thou hast not lost. Yudhishthira said, I alone, the heirs of all my brothers, and dear unto them, I am still unwon. Won by thee, I will do what he that is won will have to do. Hearing this, Sakuni, ready with the dice, adopting foul means, said unto Yudhishthira, Lo, I have won. Sakuni said, thou hast permitted thyself to be won. This is very sinful. There is wealth still left to thee. Therefore, thy having lost thyself is certainly sinful. Having said this, Sakuni, well skilled at dice, spoke unto all the brave kings present there of his having won, one after another, all the Pandavas. The son of Suvala then, addressing Yudhishthira, said, there is still one stake dear to thee that is still unwon. Stake thou Krishna, the prince of Panchala, by her win thyself back. Yudhishthira said, with Draupadi as stake, who is neither short nor tall, neither spare nor corpulent, and who is possessed of blue cool locks, I will now play with thee, possessed of eyes like the leaves of the autumn lotus, and fragrant as the autumn lotus, equal in beauty unto her who delighteth in autumn lotuses, and unto Sri herself, in symmetry and every grace, she is such a woman as a man may desire for wife in respect of softness of heart, and wealth of beauty and of virtues. possessed of every accomplishment, and compassionate and sweet speeched. She is such a woman as a man may desire for wife in respect of her fitness for the acquisition of victory and pleasure and wealth, retiring to bed last and waking up first. She looketh after all thou to the cow hairs and the sheep hairs. Her face too, when covered with sweet, looketh as the lotus or the jasmine, of slender waist like that of the wasp, of long flowing locks, of red lips, and body without down, is the princess of Panchala, making the slant-waisted Draupadi, who is even such as my stake, I will play with thee. When the intelligent King Yudhishthira, the just, has spoken thus, fie, fie, were the words that were uttered by all the aged persons that were in the assembly, and the whole conclave was agitated, and the kings who were present there all gave way to grief. And Bhisma, and Drona, and Kripa were covered with perspiration, and Vidura, holding his head between his hands, sat like one that had lost his reason. He sat with face downwards, giving way to his reflections, and sighing like a snake. Dhritarashtra, glad at heart, asked repeatedly, "Hath the stake been won?" and could not conceal his emotions. Karna, with Dusasana and others, laughed aloud, while tears began to flow from the eyes of all others present in the assembly, and the son of Suvala, proud of success, and flurried with excitement, and repeating, "Thou hast won a stake dear to thee," said, "Lo, I have won," and took up the dice that had been cast. Duryodhana said, "Come, Kishata, bring hither Draupadi, the dear and loved wife of the Pandavas. Let her sweep the chambers, force her thereto, and let the unfortunate one stay where our serving women are." Vidura said, "Dost thou not know that by uttering such harsh words thou art tying thyself with cords? Dost thou not understand that thou art hanging on the edge of a precipice? Dost thou not know that being a deer thou provokest so many tigers to haste? Snakes of deadly venom provoked to ear are on thy head. Wretch, do not further provoke them, lest thou goest to the region of Yama. In my judgment, slavery does not attach to Krishna, inasmuch as she was staked by the king after he had lost himself and ceased to be his own master. Like the bamboo that beareth fruit only when it is about to die, the son of Dhritarashtra winneth this treasury at play. Intoxicated, he perceiveth nor in these his last moments that dice bring about imminent and frightful terrors. No man should utter harsh speech appease the hearts of the others. No man should subjugate his enemies by dice and such other foul means. No one should utter such words as are disapproved by the Vedas, and lead to hell and annoy others. Some one uttereth from his lips words that are harsh, stung by them another burneth day and night. These words pierce the very heart of another. The learned, therefore, should never utter them, pointing them at others. A goat had once swallowed a hook, and when it was pierced with it, the hunter, placing the head of the animal on the ground, tore its throat frightfully in drawing it out. Therefore, swallow not the wealth of the Pandavas, make them not thy enemies. The sons of Pritha never use words such as these. It is only men that are like dogs who use harsh words towards all classes of people. Those that have retired to the woods, those leading domestic lives, those employed in ascetic devotions, and those that are of great learning. Alas, the son of Dhritarashtra knoweth not that dishonest is one of the frightful doors of hell. Many of the Kurus, with Dusasana amongst them, have followed him in the path of dishonest in the matter of display at dice. Even gods may sink, and stones may float, and boats may always sink in the water. Still this foolish king, the son of Dhritarashtra, listeneth not to my words, that are even as hegemon unto him. Without doubt, he will be the cause of the destruction of the Kurus, when the words of wisdom spoke by friends and which are even as fit hegemon are not listened to. On the other hand, temptation is on the increase. A frightful and universal destruction is sure to overtake all the Kurus. Intoxicated with pride, the son of Dhritarashtra spake, Phaeon Kishata, and casting his eyes upon the Pratikami in attendance, commanded him, in the midst of all those reverend seniors, saying, Go Pratikami, and bring thou Draupadi hither. Thou hast no fear from the sons of Pandu. It is Vidura alone that haveth in fear. Besides, he never wisheth or prosperity. Thus commanded the Pratikami, who was of the Sutta caste, hearing the words of the king, proceeded with haste, and entering the abode of the Pandavas, like a dog in a lion den, approached the queen of the sons of Pandu, and he said, Yudhishthira, having been intoxicated with dice, Duryodhana have won thee. Come now, therefore, to the abode of Dhritarashtra. I will take thee, and put thee in some menial work. Draupadi said, Why dost thou say? What prince is there who playeth stalking his wife? The king was certainly intoxicated with dice, else could he not find an other object to stake. The Pratikami said, When he had nothing else to stake, it was then that Ajatasattu, the son of Pandu, staked thee. The king had first staked his brothers, then himself, and then thee. Draupadi said, Go and ask that gambler present in the assembly, whom he hath lost first, himself or me. Ascertaining this, come hither, and then take me with thee. The messenger come back to the assembly, told all present the words of Draupadi, and he spoke unto Yudhishthira, sitting in the midst of the kings, these words, Draupadi hath asked thee, whose lord wert thou at the time thou lost me in play? Didst thou lose thyself first, or me? Yudhishthira, however, sat there like one demented and deprived of reason, and gave no answer, good or ill, to the sutta. Duryodhana then said, Let the prince of Panchala come hither and put her question. Let everyone hear in this assembly the words that passed between her and Yudhishthira. The messenger, obedient to the command of Duryodhana, going once again to the palace, himself much distressed, said unto Draupadi, They that are in the assembly are summoning thee. It seemeth that the end of the Kauravas is at hand. When Duryodhana is for taking thee before the assembly, this weak-brained king will no longer be able to protect his prosperity. Draupadi said, The great ordainer of the world hath indeed ordained. Happiness and misery pay their court to both the wise and unwise. Morality, however, it hath been said, is the only highest object in the world. If cherished, that will certainly dispense blessings to us. Let not that morality now abandon the Kauravas. Going back to those that are present in that assembly, repeat these my words consonant with morality. I am ready to do what those elderly and virtuous persons conversant with morality will definitely tell me. The Sutta, hearing these words of Yajnaseni, come back to the assembly and repeated the words of Draupadi. All sat with face downwards, uttering not a word, knowing the eagerness and resolution of the Dhritarashtra's son. Yudhishthira, however, hearing of Duryodhana's intentions, sent a trusted messenger unto Draupadi, directing that although she was attired in one piece of cloth, with her navel itself exposed, in consequence of her season having come, she should come before her father-in-law weeping bitterly, and that intelligent messenger, having gone to Draupadi abroad with speed, informed her of the intentions of Yudhishthira. The illustrious Pandavas, meanwhile distressed and sorrowful and bound by promise, could not settle what they should do, and casting his eyes upon them, King Duryodhana, glad at heart, addressed the Sutta and said, "Bring her hither. Let the Kauravas answer her question before her face." The Sutta, then, obedient to his commands, but terrified at the wrath of the doctor of Drupada, disregarding his reputation for intelligence, once again said to those that were in the assembly, "What shall I say unto Krishna?" Duryodhana, hearing this, said, "This son of my Sutta, of little intelligence, feareth Vrikodara. Therefore go thou thyself and forcibly bring hither the doctor of Yajnasena. Our enemies at present are dependent on our will. What can they do thee?" Hearing the command of his brother, Prince Dusasana rose with blood-red eyes, and entering the abode of those great warriors, spake these words unto the prince: "Come, come, Prince of Panchala, thou hast been won by us, and thou of eyes large as lotus leaves, come now and accept the Kurus for thy lords. Thou hast been won virtuously, come to the assembly." At these words, Draupadi, rising up in great affliction, rubbed her pale face with her hands, and distressed she ran to the place where the ladies of the Dhritarashtra household were. At this, Dusasana, roaring in anger, ran after her and seized the queen by her locks, so long and blue and wavy. Those locks that had been sprinkled with water, sanctified with mantras in the great Rajasuya sacrifice, were now forcibly seized by the son of Dhritarashtra, disregarding the prowess of the Pandavas. And Dusasana, dragging Krishna of long locks unto the presence of the assembly, as if she were helpless, dog having powerful protectors, and pulling at her, made her tremble like the banana plant in a storm, and dragged by him, with body bent, she faintly cried, "Wretch, it ill behoveth thee to take me before the assembly. My season hath come, and I am now clad in one piece of attire." Dusasana, dragging Draupadi forcibly by her black locks, while she was praying piteously unto Krishna and Vishnu, who were Narayana and Nara, said unto her, "Whether thy season have come or not, whether thou art attired in one piece of cloth or entirely naked, when thou hast been won at dice and made our slave, thou art to live amongst our serving women as thou pleasest." With her disheveled and half her attire loosened, all the while dragged by Dusasana, the modest Krishna, consumed with anger, faintly said, "In this assembly are persons conversant with all the branches of learning, devoted to the performance of sacrifice and other rites, and are equal unto Indra, persons some of whom are really my superior, and others who deserve to be respected as such. I cannot stay before them in this state. Thou of cruel deeds, drag me not, undercover me not. The prince will not pardon thee, even if thou hast the gods themselves with Indra as thy allies. The illustrious son of the Dharma is now bound by the obligation of morality. Morality, however, is subtly. Those only that are possessed of great clearness of vision can ascertain it. In speech even I am unwilling to admit an atom of fault in my Lord forgetting his virtues. Thou draggest me who I am in my season before these Kuru heroes. This is truly unworthy act. No one here rebuketh thee. Assuredly all these are of the same mind with thee. Truly hath the virtue of the Mahabharata gone. Truly hath the usage of those acquainted with the Kshatriya praxis disappeared. Else these Kurus in this assembly would never have looked silently on this act that transgresseth the limits of their practice. Both Drona and Bhishma have lost their energy, and have the high-souled Kishata and this king. Else why do these foremost of the Kuru elders look silently on this great crime? Thus did Krishna of slender waist cry in distress in that assembly, and casting a glance upon her enraged lords, the Pandavas, who were filled with terrible wrath, she inflamed them further with that glance of hers. And they were not so distressed at having been robbed of their kingdom, of their wealth, of their costliest gems, as with that glance of Krishna moved by modest and anger. And Dusasana, beholding Krishna, looking at her helpless lords, dragging her still more forcibly, and addressed her, slave, and loggerhead aloud. And at those words Karna became very glad and approved of them by logging aloud. And Sakuni, the son of Suvala, the Gandhara king, similarly applauded Dusasana, and amongst all those that were in the assembly, except these three and Duryodhana, everyone was filled with sorrow at beholding Krishna thus dragged in sight of that assembly, and beholding it all, Bhishma said, Morality is subtly. Therefore, I am unable to duly decide this point that thou hast put, beholding that on the one hand, one that hath no wealth cannot stake the wealth belonging to the others, while on the other hand wives are always under the orders and at the disposal of their lords. Yudhishthira can abandon the whole world full of wealth, but he will never sacrifice morality. The son of Pandu hath said, I am one. Therefore, I am unable to decide this matter. Sakuni hath not his equal among men at dice play. The son of Kunti is still voluntarily staked with him. The illustrious Yudhishthira doth not himself regard that Sakuni hath played with him the said fool. Therefore, I cannot decide this point. Draupadi said, The king was summoned to this assembly, and Tog, possessing no skill at dice, he was made to play with skillful, wicked, deceitful, and desperate gamblers. How can he be said then to have staked voluntarily? The chief of the Pandavas was deprived of his senses by wretches of deceitful conduct and unholy instincts, acting together and then vanquished. He could not understand their tricks. He hath now done. Here in this assembly there are Kurus who are the laws of both their sons and their daughters-in-law. Let all of them, reflecting well upon my words, duly decide the point that I have put. unto Krishna, who was thus weeping and crying piteously, looking at times upon her helpless lord. Dusasana spake many disagreeably and harsh words, and beholding her who was then in her season, thus dragged in her upper garments, loosened, beholding her in that condition, which she little deserved, Vrikodara, afflicted beyond endurance, his eyes fixed upon Yudhishthira, gave way to wrath. Bhima said, Gamblers have in their houses men and women of loose character. They do not yet stake those women having kindness for them even. Whatever wealth and other excellent articles the king of Kash gave, whatever gems, animals, and wealth, coats of mail and weapons that other kings of the earth gave, our kingdom, thyself, and ourselves have all been won by the foes. At all these my wrath was not excited, for thou art our Lord. These, however, I regard as a highly improper act, this act of stalking Draupadi. This innocent girl deserveth not this treatment. Having obtained the Pandavas as her lords, it is for thee alone that she is being thus persecuted by the low, despicably cruel, and mean-minded Kauravas. It is for her sake that my anger falleth on thee. I shall burn those hands of thine. Sahadeva, bring some fire. Arjuna, hearing this, said, Thou hast never before this uttered such words as these. Assuredly thy high morality hath been destroyed by these cruel foes. Thou shouldst not fulfill the wishes of the enemy. Practice thou the highest morality, whom doth it behoveth to transgress his virtue's eldest brother. The king was summoned by the foe, and remembering the usage of the Kshatriyas, he played at dice against his will. That is certainly conducive to our great fame. Bhima said, If I had not known that the king had acted according to Kshatriya usage, then I would have taken his hands together by sheer force, burnt them in a blazing fire. Beholding the Pandavas thus distressed, and the prince of Panchala thus afflicted, Vikarna, the son of Dhritarashtra, said, Ye kings, answer ye the question that hath been asked by Yajnaseni. If we do not judge a matter referred to us, all of us will assuredly have to go to hell without delay. How is that Bhishma and Dhritarashtra, both of whom are the oaths of the Kurus, the high-souled Vidura, do not say anything? The son of Viharadivaja, who is the preceptor of us, Kripa, is here. Why do not these best of regenerate ones answer the question? Let those other kings assembled here from all directions answer according to their judgment this question, leaving aside all motives of gain and anger. Ye kings, answer ye the question that hath been asked by this blessed daughter of King Drupada, and declare after reflection on which side each of ye is. Thus did Vikarna repeatedly appeal to those that were in that assembly. Those kings answered him not one word, good or ill, and Vikarna, having repeatedly appealed to all the kings, began to rub his hands and sigh like a snake. And at last the prince said, Ye kings of the earth, ye Kauravas, whether ye answer this question or not, I will say what I regard as just and proper. Ye foremost of men, it hath been said that hunting, drinking, gambling, and too much enjoyment of woman are the four vices of kings. The man that is addicted to these liveth forsaking virtue. And people do not regard the acts done by a person who is thus improperly engaged as of an authority. The son of Pandu, while deeply engaged in one of these vicious acts, urged thereto by the faithful gamblers, made Draupadi a stake. The innocent Draupadi is, besides, the common wife of all the sons of Pandu, and the king, having first lost himself, offered her as a stake. And Suvala himself, desirous of a stake, indeed, prevailed upon the king to stake this Krishna. Reflecting upon all these circumstances, I regard Draupadi as not one. Hearing these words, a loud uproar rose from among those present in that assembly, and they all applauded Vikarna and censured the son of Suvala. And at that sound, the son of Hadha, deprived of his senses by anger, waving his well-shaped arms, said these words: Men opposite and inconsistent conditions are noticeable in this assembly, like fire produced from a fagot, consuming the fagot itself. This thy ear will consume thee. These personages here, talk urged by Krishna, have not uttered a word. They all regard the doctor of Drupada to have been properly warned. Thou alone, in consequence of thy immature ears, art bursting with wrath, for talk, a boy, thou speakest in the assembly as if thou wert old. Thou dost not know what morality truly is, for thou sayest like a fool that this Krishna who hath been won as not won at all. How dost thou regard Krishna as not won, when the heirs of the Pandavas before this assembly staked all his possessions? Draupadi is included in all the possessions. Therefore, why regardest thou Krishna who hath been justly won as not won? Draupadi had been mentioned and approved of as a stake by the Pandavas. For what reason then dost thou yet regard her as not won? If thou thinkest that bringing her hither attired in a single piece of cloth is an action of impropriety, listen to certain excellent reasons I will give. The gods have ordained one husband for one woman. This Draupadi, however, hath many husbands. Therefore, certain it is that she is an unchaste woman. To bring her, therefore, into this assembly, attired talk, she be in one piece of cloth, even to uncover her is not at all an act that may cause surprise. Whatever wealth the Pandavas had, she herself and these Pandavas themselves have all been justly won by the son of Suvala. This Vikarna, speaking words of wisdom, is a boy. Take off the robes of the Pandavas, the attire of Draupadi. Hearing these words, the Pandavas took off their upper garments and throwing them down, sat in that assembly. Then Dusasana, forcibly seizing Draupadi, attired before the eyes of all, began to drag it off her person. When the attire of Draupadi was being thus dragged, she talked of Hari. Seest thou not that the Kauravas are humiliating me? Rescue me who I am sinking in the Kaurava ocean. Save me who I am distressed, who I am losing my senses in the midst of the Kurus. Thus did that afflicted lady, resplendent still in her beauty, covering her face, cried aloud, thinking of Krishna, of Hari, of the Lord of the Three Worlds. Hearing the words of Draupadi, Krishna was deeply moved, and leaving his seat, the benevolent one, from compassion, arrived there on foot, and while Yajnasena was crying aloud to Krishna, called Vishnu and Hari and Nara for protection, the illustrious Dharma, remaining unseen, covered her with excellent clothes of many hues. And as the attire of Draupadi was being dragged, after one was taken off, another of the same kind appeared covering her, and thus did it continue till many clothes were seen, and, owing to the protection of the Dharma, hundreds upon hundreds of robes of many hues came off Draupadi's person. And there arose then a deep uproar of many voices, And the kings present in that assembly, beholding that most extraordinary of all sights in the world, began to applaud Draupadi and censure the son of Dhritarashtra. And Bhishma, then squeezing his hands with lips quivering in haste, swore in the midst of all those kings a terrible oath in a loud voice. And Bhishma said, "Hear these words of mine, ye Kshatriyas of the world. Words such as these were never before uttered by other men, nor will anybody in the future ever utter them. Ye laws of earth, if having spoken these words I do not accomplish them hereafter, let me not obtain the region of my deceased ancestors." Tearing open in battle by sheer force the breast of this wretch, this wicked-minded scoundrel of the Mahabharata race, if I do not drink his life-blood, let me not obtain the region of my ancestors. Hearing these terrible words of Bhishma that made the jaw of the auditors to stand on end, everybody present there applauded him and censured the son of Dhritarashtra. And when a mass of clothes had been gathered in that assembly, all dragged from the person of Draupadi, Dusasana, tired and ashamed, sat down. And beholding the sons of Kunti in that state, the persons, those gods among men, that were in that assembly, all uttered the word fear. And the united voice of all became so loud that they made the down of anybody who heard them stand on end. And all the honest men that were in that assembly began to say, "Alas, the Kauravas answer not the question that have been put to them by Draupadi." And all censuring Dhritarashtra together made a loud clamor. Then Vidura, that master of the science of morality, waving his hands and silencing everyone, spake these words: "Ye that are in this assembly, Draupadi, having put her question, is weeping helplessly. Ye are not answering her. Virtue and morality are being persecuted by such conduct. An afflicted person approacheth an assembly of good men, like one that is being consumed by fire. They that are in the assembly quench that fire, and call him by means of truth and morality. The afflicted person asketh the assembly about his rights, as sanctioned by morality. They that are in the assembly, showed unmoved by interest and anger, answer the question. Ye kings, Vikarna have answered the question, according to his own knowledge and judgment. Ye should answer it as ye think proper, knowing the rules of morality, and having attended an assembly. He that doth not answer a query that is put incurreth half the demerit that attacheth to a lie. He, on the other hand, who, knowing the rules of morality, and having joined an assembly, answereth falsely, assuredly incurreth the sin of a lie. The learned quote, as an example in this connection, the old history of Prahlada and the son of Angihasa. There was of old a chief of the deities of the name Prahlada. He had a son named Virokhana, and Virokhana, for the sake of obtaining a breed, quarrelled with Sudhihanvam, the son of Angihas. It hath been heard by us that they mutually wagered their lives, saying, I am superior, for the sake of obtaining a breed. And after they had thus quarrelled with each other, they both made Prahlada the arbitrator to decide between them. And they asked him, saying, Who amongst us is superior? Answer this question. Speak not falsely. Frightened at this quarrel, Prahlada cast his eyes upon Sudhihanvam, and Sudhihanvam, in haste, burning like unto the mace of Yama, told him, If thou answerest falsely, or dost not answer at all, thy head will then be split into 100 pieces by the wielder of the thunderbolt, with that both of his. Thus addressed by Sudhihanvam, the Daitya, trembling like a leaf of the fig tree, went to Kasyapa of great energy for taking counsel with him. And Prahlada said, "Thou art full conversant with the rules of morality that should guide both the gods and the Asuras, and the Brahmanas as well. Here, however, is a situation of great difficulty in respect of duty. Tell me, I ask thee, what regions are obtainable by them who, upon being asked a question, answer it not, or answer it falsely?" Kasyapa thus asked answered, "He that knoweth answereth not a question from temptation, anger, or fear, casteth upon himself 1,000 nooses of Varuna, and the person who sitteth as a witness with respect to any matter of ocular or auricular knowledge, speaketh carelessly, casteth 1,000 nooses of Varuna upon his own person, on the completion of on full ear. On such noose is loosened. Therefore, he that knoweth should speak the truth without concealment. If virtue pierced by sin repaireth to an assembly, it is the duty of everybody in the assembly to take off the dart, otherwise they themselves would be pierced with it. In an assembly where a true censurable act is not rebuked, half the demerit of that act attacheth to the head of that assembly, a fourth to the person acting censurably, and a fourth unto those others that are there in that assembly. On the other hand, when he that deserveth censure is rebuked, the head of the assembly becometh freed from all things, and the other members incur none. It is only the perpetrator himself of the act that becometh responsible for it. They who answer falsely, those that ask them about morality, destroy the meritorious acts of their 7 upper and 7 lower generations. The grief of one who hath lost all his wealth, of one who hath lost a son, of one who is in debt, of one who is separated from his companions, of a woman who hath lost her husband, of one that hath lost his all in consequence of the king's demand, of a woman who is sterile, of one who hath been devoured by a tiger, of one who is a co-wife, and of one who hath been deprived of his property by false witnesses, have been said by the gods to be uniform in degree. These different sorts of grief are his who speaketh false. A person becometh a witness in consequence of his having seen, heard, and understood a thing. Therefore, a witness should always tell the truth. A truth-telling witness never loseth his religions, merits, and earthly possessions. Hearing these words of Kasyapa, Prahlada told his son, "Sudhihanvan is superior to thee, as in thee Angihas is superior to me. The mother of Sudhihanvan is superior to thy mother. Therefore, this Sudhihanvan is now the lord of thy life." At these words of Prahlada, Sudhihanvan said, "Since, unmoved by affection for thy shield, thou hast adhered to virtue, I command, let this son of thine live for 100 years. Vidyura said, "Let all the persons, therefore, present in this assembly, hearing this high truth of morality, reflect upon what should be the answer to the question asked by Draupadi." The kings that were there, hearing these words of Vidyura, answered not a word. Yet Karna alone spoke unto Dusasana, telling him, "Take away this serving woman, Krishna, into the inner apartments." And thereupon Dusasana began to drag before all the spectators the helpless and modest Draupadi, trembling and crying piteously unto the Pandavas, her lords. Draupadi said, "Wait a little, thou worst of men, thou wicked-minded Dusasana. I have an act to perform, a high duty that hath not been performed by me yet. Dragged forcibly by this wretch in strong arms, I was deprived of my senses. I salute these reverend seniors in this assembly of the Kurus. That I could not do this before cannot be my fault." Dragged with greater force than before, the afflicted and helpless Draupadi, undeserving of such treatment, falling down upon the ground, thus wept in that assembly of the Kurus. Alas, once before, on the occasion of the Sivayamvara, I was beheld by the assembled kings in the amphitheatre, and never even once beheld afterwards. I am today brought before this assembly. She whom even the winds and the sun had seen never before in her palace is today before this assembly, and exposed to the gaze of the crowd. Alas, she whom the sons of Pandu could not, while in her palace, suffer to be touched even by the wind, is today suffered by the Pandavas to be seized and dragged by this wretch. Alas, these Kauravas suffer their doctor-in-law, unworthy of such treatment, to be thus afflicted before them. It seemeth that the times are out of joint. What can be more distressing to me than that dog, high-born and chaste, I should yet be compelled to enter this public court? Where is that virtue for which these kings were noted? It hath been heard that the kings of ancient days never brought their wedded wives into the public court. Alas, that eternal usage hath disappeared from among the Kauravas. Else, how is it that the chaste wife of the Pandavas, the sister of Prishata's son, the friend of Vasudeva, is brought before this assembly? Yea, Kauravas, I am the wedded wife of the king Yudhishthira, the just, hailing from the same dynasty to which the king belongeth. Tell me now if I am a serving maid or otherwise. I will cheerfully accept your answer. This mean wretch, this destroyer of the fame of the Kurus, is afflicting me hard. Ye Kauravas, I cannot bear it any longer. Ye kings, I desire ye to answer whether ye regard me as one or unone. I will accept your verdict, whatever it be. Hearing these words, Vítima answered, I have already said, blessed on that the course of morality is subtly. Even the illustrious wise in this world fail to understand it always. What in this world a strong man calls morality is regarded as such by others, however otherwise it may really be. What a weak man calls morality is scarcely regarded as such, even if it be the highest morality, from the importance of the issue involved, from its intricacy and subtlety. I am unable to answer with certitude the question thou hast asked. However, it is certain that all the Kurus have become the slaves of covetousness and folly. The destruction of this or haste will happen no distant date. The family into which thou hast been admitted as a doctor-in-law is such that those who are born in it, however much they might be afflicted by calamities, never deviate from the path of virtue and morality. This conduct of thine, that dog sunk in distress, thou still castest thy eyes on virtue and morality, is assuredly worthy of thee. These persons, Drona and others, of mature years and conversant with morality, sit heads downwards like men that are dead, with bodies from which life hath departed. It seemeth to me, however, that Yudhishthira is an authority on this question. It behoveth him to declare whether thou art one or not one. The kings present in that assembly, from fear of Duryodhana, uttered not a word, good or ill, although they beheld Draupadi crying piteously in affliction, like a female osprey, and repeatedly appealing to them. And the son of Dhritarashtra, beholding these kings and sons and grandsons of kings are remaining silent, smiled a little, and addressing the daughter of the king of Panchala, said, "The question thou hast put dependeth on thy husbands, on Bhishma of might strength, on Arjuna, on Nakula, on Sahadeva. Let them answer thy question. Let them for thy sake declare in the midst of these respectable men that Yudhishthira is not their lord. Let them thereby make King Yudhishthira the just a liar. Thou shalt then be freed from the condition of slavery. Let the illustrious son of Dharma, always adhering to virtue, who is even like Indra himself, declare whether he is not thy lord. At his word, accept thou the Pandavas or ourselves without delay. Indeed, all the Kauravas present in this assembly are floating in the ocean of thy distress, and with which magnanimity they are unable to answer thy question, looking at thy unfortunate husbands." Hearing these words of the Kuru king, all who were present in the assembly loudly applauded them, and shouting approvingly, they made signs unto one another by motions of their eyes and lips, and amongst some that were there, sounds of distress such as "oh" and "alas" were heard, and at these words of Duryodhana, so delightful, the Kauravas present in that assembly became exceedingly glad, and the kings with face turned sideways looked upon Yudhishthira, conversant with the rules of morality, curious to hear what he would say. And everyone present in that assembly became curious to hear what Arjuna, the son of Pandu, never defeated in battle, and what Bhishmasena, and what the twins would say. And when that busy hum of many voices became still, Bhishmasena, waving his strong and well-formed arms, smeared with sandal paste, spake these words: "If this high-souled King Yudhishthira, the just, who is our eldest brother, had not been our lord, we would never have forgiven the Kuru race. He is the lord of all our religions and ascetic merits, the lord of even our lives. If he regardeth himself as one, we too have all been one. If this were not, who is there amongst creatures touching the earth with their feet and mortal, that would escape from me with his life after having touched those locks of the prince of Panchala? Beholding this might, well-formed arms of mine, even like masses of iron, having once come within them, even he of 100 sacrifices is incapable of effecting an escape, bound by the ties of virtue, and the reverence that is due to our eldest brother, and repeatedly urged by Arjuna to remain silent. I am not doing anything terribly. If, however, I am once commanded by King Yudhishthira, the just, I will slay these wretched sons of Dhritarashtra, making slaves do the work of swords, like a lion slaying a number of little animals." Unto Bhishma, who had spoken these words, Bhishma and Drona and Vidura said, "Forbear, everything is possible with thee." Karna said, "All the persons in the assembly, there, Bhishma, Vidura, and the preceptor of the Kurus, appear to be independent, for they always speak of their master as wicked, always censure him, and never wish for his prosperity. The slave, the son, and the wife are always dependent. They cannot earn wealth, for whatever they earn belongeth to their master. Thou art the wife of a slave, incapable of possessing anything on his own account. Repair now to the inner apartments of King Dhritarashtra and serve the king's relatives with direct debt. That is now thy proper business. And all the sons of Dhritarashtra, and not the sons of Pritha, are now thy masters. Select thou another husband now, on who will not make thee a slave by gambling. It is well known that women, especially that are slaves, are not censurable if they proceed with freedom in electing husbands. Therefore, let it be done by thee. Nakula have been won, as also Bhishmasena, and Yudhishthira, and Sahadeva, and Arjuna, and thou art now a slave. Thy husbands that are slaves cannot continue to be thy laws any longer. Alas, doth not the son of Pritha regard life, prowess, and manhood as of no use that he offereth this daughter of Drupada, the king of Panchala, in the presence of all this assembly, as a stake at dice? Hearing these words, the wrathful Bhishma breathed hard, a very picture of war, obedient to the king and bound by the tie of virtue and duty, burning everything with his eyes, inflamed by anger, he said, I cannot be angry at these words of the son of Asuta, for we have truly entered the state of servitude. Could our enemies have said unto me, if thou hast not played stalking this prince? Hearing these words of Bhishmasena, King Duryodhana addressed Yudhishthira, who was silent and deprived of his senses, saying, both Bhishma and Arjuna and the twins are under thy sway. Answer thou the question. Say, whether thou regardest Krishna as unwon. And having spoken thus unto the son of Kunti, Duryodhana, desirous of encouraging the son of Hadha and insulting Bhishma, quickly uncovered his left thigh, that was like unto the stem of a plantain tree, or the trunk of an elephant, and which was graced with every auspicious sign, and ended with the strength of a thunder, and showed it to Draupadi in her very sight. And beholding this, Bhishmasena, expanding his head eyes, said unto Duryodhana, in the midst of all those kings, and as if piercing them, let not Vrikodara attain to the regions obtained by his ancestors. If he doth not, break that tie of thine in the great conflict, and sparkles of fire began to be emitted from every organ of sense of Bhishma, filled with wrath, like those that come out of every crack and orifice in the body of a blazing tree. Vidyura then, addressing everybody, said, Ye kings of Pratipahes, behold the great danger that ariseth from Bhishmasena. Know ye for certain that this great calamity that threateneth to overtake the Bharatas have been sent by destiny itself. The sons of Dhritarashtra have indeed gambled, disregarding every proper consideration. They are even now disputing in this assembly about a lady. The prosperity of your kingdom is at an end. Alas, the Kauravas are even now engaged in sinful consultations. Ye Kauravas, take to your heart this high precept that I declare. If virtue is persecuted, the whole assembly becometh polluted. If Yudhishthira had staked her before he was himself won, he would certainly have been regarded as her master. If, however, a person staketh anything at a time when he himself is incapable of holding any wealth, to win it is very like obtaining wealth in a dream. Listening to the words of the king of Gandhara, fall ye not off from this undoubted truth. Duryodhana, hearing Vidura thus speak, said, I am willing to abide by the words of Bhishma, of Arjuna, and of the twins. Let them say that Yudhishthira is not their master. Yajnaseni will then be freed from her state of bondage. Arjuna at this said, this illustrious son of Kunti, King Yudhishthira the just, was certainly our master before he began to play. Having lost himself, let all the Kauravas judge whose master he could be after that. Just then a jackal began to cry loudly in the Homa chamber of King Dhritarashtra's palace, and unto the jackal that whirled, the asses began to bray responsibly, and terrible birds from all sides began to answer with their cries, and Vidura, conversant with everything, and the doctor of Suvala, both understood the meaning of those terrible sounds, and Bhishma and Drona and the learned Gautama loudly cried, Shivasti, Shivasti. Then Gandhihari and the learned Vidura, beholding that frightful omen, represented everything in great affliction unto the king, and the king thereupon said, Thou wicked-minded Duryodhana, thou wretch, destruction hath already overtaken thee when thou insultest in language such as this the wife of these bulls amongst the Kurus, especially their wedded wife, Draupadi. And having spoken those words, the wise Dhritarashtra ended with knowledge, reflecting with the aid of his wisdom, and desirous of saving his relatives and friends from destruction, began to console Krishna, the prince of Panchala, and addressing her, the monarch said, Ask of me any boon that thou desirest. Chaste and devoted to virtue, thou art the first of all my daughters-in-law. Draupadi said, If thou wilt grant me a boon, I ask the handsome Yudhishthira, obedient to every duty, be free from slavery. Let not unthinking children call my child Prativindi here, and with great energy of mind as the son of a slave. Having been a prince, superior to all men, and nurtured by kings, it is not proper that he should be called the child of a slave. Dhritarashtra said unto her, Let it be as thou sayest. Ask thou another boon, for I will give it. My heart inclineth to give thee a second boon. Thou dost not deserve all one boon. Draupadi said, I ask that Bhishmasena and Dhananjaya and the twins with their cars and bows, freed from bondage, regain their liberty. Dhritarashtra said, Let it be as thou desirest. Ask thou a third boon, for thou hast not been sufficiently honored with 2 boons. Virtuous in thy behavior, thou art the foremost of all my daughters-in-law. Draupadi said, Covetousness always bringeth about loss of virtue. I do not deserve a third boon, therefore I dare not ask any. It hath been said that a Vaisya may ask one boon, a Kshatriya lady 2 boons, a Kshatriya male 3, and a Brahmana 100. These my husbands, freed from the wretched state of bondage, will be able to achieve prosperity by their own virtuous acts. Karna said, We have never heard of such an act performed by any of the women noted in this world of their beauty. When the sons of both Pandu and Dhritarashtra were excited with wrath, this Draupadi became unto the sons of Pandu as their salvation. Indeed, the prince of Panchala, becoming as a boat unto the sons of Pandu, who were sinking in a boatless ocean of distress, have brought them in safety to the shore. Hearing these words of Karna in the midst of the Kurus, that the sons of Pandu were saved by their wife. The angry Bhishmasena, in great affliction, said, "It hath been said by the Vala, 3 lives reside in every person, offspring, acts, and learning. For from these 3 have sprung creation. When life becometh extinct, and the body becometh impure, and is cast off by relatives, these 3 become observed to every person. The light that is in us hath been dimmed by this act of insult to our wife. How can a son born from this insulted wife of ours prove serviceable to us?" Arjuna replied, "Superior persons never prate about the harsh words that may or may not be uttered by inferior men. Persons that have earned respect for themselves, even if they are able to retaliate, remember not the acts of hostility done by their enemies. On the other hand, treasure up on their good deeds." Bhishma said, "Shall I slay without loss of time all these foes assembled together, even he, or shall I destroy them? But the roots outside this palace, what need is there of wars or of command? I shall slay all these even now, and rule thou the whole earth without a rival." And saying this, Bhishma, with his younger brothers, like a lion in the midst of a herd of inferior animals, repeatedly cast his angry glances around. Arjuna, however, of white deeds, with appealing looks began to pacify his elder brother, and the might-armed hero, endowed with great prowess, began to burn with the fire of his wrath. And this fire began to issue out of Brigodara ears and other senses, with smoke and sparks and flames, and his face became terrible to behold, in consequence of his furrowed brows, like those of Yama himself at the time of the universal destruction. Then Yudhishthira forbade the mighty hero, embracing him with his arms and telling him, "Be not, stay in silence and peace." And having pacified the might-armed on with eyes held in wrath, the king approached his uncle Dhritarashtra with hands joined in entreaty. Yudhishthira said, "Thou art our master, command us as to what we shall do. We desire to remain always in obedience to thee." Dhritarashtra replied, "Blessed be thou. Go thou in peace and safety, commanded by me. Go rule thy own kingdom with thy wealth, and take to heart this command of an old man, this unwholesome advice that I give, and which is even a nutritive regimen. Thou knowest the subtle path of morality, possessed of great wisdom. Thou art humble, and thou waitest upon the old. Where there is intelligence, there is forbearance. Therefore, follow thou counsels of peace. The axe falleth upon wood, not upon stone. They are the best of men that remember not the acts of hostility of their foes, that behold only the merits, not the faults, of their enemies, and that never enter into hostilities themselves. They that are good remember only the good deeds of their foes, and not the hostile acts their foes might have done unto them. The good, besides, do good unto others, without expectations of any good in return. It is only the worst of men that utter harsh words in quarrelling, while they that are indifferent reply to such men spoken by others. They that are good and wise never think of or recapitulate such harsh words, little caring whether these may or may not have been uttered by their foes. They that are good, having regard to the state of their own feelings, can understand the feelings of others, and therefore remember only the good deeds and not the acts of hostility of their foes. Thou hast acted even as good men of prepossessing countenance do, who transgress not the limits of virtue. Wealth, pleasure, and salvation. Remember not the harsh words of Duryodhana. Look at thy mother Gandhihari and myself, if thou desirest to remember on what is good. Look at me, who am thy father. Unto you, and I am old and blind, and still alive. It was for seeing our friends and examining the strength and weakness of my children that I had, from motives of policy, suffered this much at least to proceed. Those amongst the Kurus that have thee for their ruler, and the intelligent Vidura, conversant with every branch of learning for their counselor, have in thee nothing to grieve for. In thee is virtue, in Arjuna is patience, in Bhishmasena is prowess, and the twins, those foremost of men, is pure reverence for superiors. Blessed be thou, return to Kihandava Prastiha, and let there be brotherly love between thee and thy cousins. Let thy heart be ever fixed on virtue. That foremost of the Biharatas, King Yudhishthira, the just, then thus addressed by his uncle, having gone through every ceremony of politeness, set out with his brothers for Kihandava Prastiha, and accompanied by Draupadi, and assembling their cars, which were out of the hood of the clowns. With cheerful hearts they all set out for that best of cities called Indraprastiha,